Maybe the pinch hitter. I'm not Alan.
You're prettier though. You are prettier.
Oh, that was a good interview.
Oh yeah, it was.
He's more magical though.
You're magical. Yes.
You that was a good interview. We had fun.
All right. Hello, everybody on YouTube. We are just moments away from kicking off this month's SOR Roundtable, and we got a great crew for you tonight. Science Bob McGwier is here. We have Olav Phillips, our resident witch, who recently got a haircut, got about, looks about 4 or 5 inches of hair taken off, but she still looks stunning, Lynn Wallington. And one of my new favorites after I had her on the show about a week ago or so, Asherah 7. She's joining us as well, and she is waving. She likes to wave. Apparently, she loves parades just so she can wave at strangers. This is what I'm hearing.
There you go.
Yeah, I hate parades, by the way. Yeah, Olav.
What am I the resident of? I felt left out, Dave.
California.
I am a resident of California, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's my resident. I'm the resident in California.
You're the lumberjack of us.
I'm not. Okay.
You're the lumberjack.
I'm not from here.
That's okay.
But I'm not from California.
Look, I just titled you, man. Our resident lumberjack.
Okay.
All
lumberjack.
right.
I got that.
There we go.
I got that with my Husqvarna chainsaw.
I have a steel. I have a steel chainsaw.
I got Husqvarna.
I get my what size what size chain do you use? Are you on an 18-inch or? That's what I use.
No. Yeah, 18-inch.
Yeah, that's a good size. That's a good size.
Think about it for a minute.
That'll mow down some trees.
I got a hydraulic wood splitter now too.
Oh,
I want to work
thank Christ. That
my arms.
That is a godsend. I got one. I've had one for like 2.5 years. It's beautiful. Science Bob, you need a hydraulic wood splitter. Just for even if you don't cut down trees, you just need one. Yeah.
Exercise.
All right.
It's like a rowing machine with wood.
Yes. Great. Let's give a rundown of everybody who's in our chat room. Hello to James Horn in the gold medal position. Race fan takes home silver. Grandmaster in the bronze. High sultry Susie. Gorgeous Kimberly. Brett Lewis is here, everyone, which means we can officially start the show. Nomad and Jurassic Joey, thanks for coming on in. Ninja Wizard kicking off the super chat tonight. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Jack Clark, nice to have you back. Gorgeous Renee and Aiden, along with Eric. Eric with a super chat as well. Thank you so much for the support, man. I really do appreciate it. Hi, Shiny Ray and Too Far Gone from Earth in Southern Ontario. Yes, we have Leaf Fan here, people. We have Leaf Fan, okay? You can throw the insults over to him. I would appreciate that. Even though my Canucks right now are sucking, and we're playing for a draft pick, and we'll still screw that up. Steam Train Mark letting us know that we are all alive tomorrow in Australia. Thank you for letting us know that we are alive in the future. Alaska's greatest athlete, the gorgeous Emily Bigelow, is back. Worsley, good to have you here, man. Thanks for coming on in. And I don't know why, but my video card at this time every night, it does a flash and it screws me right up. Hi, gorgeous Jenny. How are you? Simon Pearson, thanks for coming on in. Hey, Agravane, good to have you back. It's been a while. Dirt Road, good to see you. Hey, Angie, thank you so much for that awesome super chat. I really do appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much. And I am Pam. No, you are Pam. I'm not Pam. You're Pam. Damn it, you're Pam. Hi, Pam. Bigfoot Rob, thank you for having me on your show yesterday. I really appreciate that. Chill Farm, nice to have you back from Australia. Thank you. And you see, there it goes again. And now it's good for the show. Now I got to move everything back over to my other screen. Hold on. Gotta love technology. Moving on, and where are we? Just screws you right up. Really does. Paul Holland, good to see you. And I probably should start this so I don't forget. That's always a good thing to do. Put a number 1 there. And Mary Bone, she's a vegetarian. Mary Bone. Thurston Howell III, how's Lovey? Please let us know. Brad Forsey, how are you, man? Raz Taz, good to have you back. It's been a while. Steve Stockton, thanks for coming on in. The gorgeous Manitoba Becky, the pride of Brandon. Richard Elmore, and the Jim Christie. The Jim Christie is here, everyone. All right. Lynn Wallington, I know where she is. She's right there. I could see her. And Science Bob, I could see him. Uncle Dale and his power stash are here, everyone. Please give it a tug for good luck. Stu Gerson, right there, buddy. Hey, Otis and Mental Pancakes. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Brian. How are you, man? Thanks for coming on in. We're going to get this thing going. I'm running out of time. We got 8 seconds till the super chat, and the show kicks off. Holy shit. Here we go. Of central British Columbia to you listening around the world. This, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find us on our website. Guess what? It is the final end of the final week of the month, which means it's that time once again for the SOR Roundtable. This is where we kind of take a look at the month that was. I bring in some friends from around the universe of the paranormal, supernatural, witchery, and, of course, Olav Phillips, and because he's a lumberjack, you know. And we get into all of the weird, strange stories that kind of come along throughout this month. We're going to get into UFOs. There's going to be a lot of that because there's a lot of UFO news. We're going to get into Bigfoot as well, much other stuff, including podcasting. There's a lot out there. And we're just going to see where it goes. There's no script. There's no nothing. They don't even know the questions. So let's introduce our panel. We got Science Bob McGwier from Science Bob and Friends. He's got looks like a pretty clean-shaved head right now, which is nice. We have Lynn Wallington, who's recently chopped 5 inches off her hair, and she's got brand new glasses as well. With stunning teeth, because she flosses at least 3 times a day, Asherah 7, who's a recent guest on this show, and the man who has 98% of the shares in Carhartt, because he wants to be a lumberjack, Olav Phillips. Everyone, welcome back to the SOR Roundtable. We got a hell of a panel tonight. Thank you for joining us and our audience.
All right, Dave.
All right, let's just get right into the UFOs. We got to do this because, you know what, for the last 6-7 weeks, the entire field of ufology has been extremely quiet. So quiet that people are stirring up drama just for the sake of keeping things interesting on Twitter and on their blogs and everything. And you know what? Hey, we got to create some news somehow. And then, Bob, boom, this past week happens. We have, you know, Donald Trump's former Secretary of Intelligence coming out about UFOs. We have other senators coming out. We have new Navy stuff coming out. Where the heck did this all come from, Bob?
Well, looks like what I think is Donald Trump okayed people to release stuff. And I say that because people that listen to this show know that I spent a long time in the intelligence community. And a director of national intelligence does not blab things that are close to classified material or even just for official use only without permission of their boss. And Ratcliffe, as DNI had only one boss, and that's the President of the United States. So I think Trump has okayed some kind of release right before he left office, and DNI Ratcliffe really got on Fox News and just kind of put a very official sounding voice between we've got UFOs and we don't know what they are.
Okay. Explain to our people who are listening the importance of John Ratcliffe, who is a former Secretary of Intelligence, to release this information. How does that happen?
I think Trump authorized the release. I don't believe Ratcliffe would have done it without authorization. And Ratcliffe's authority to have an impact on that ended the day Biden took office. So Trump had to have, my opinion, told him that it was okay to talk about this before he left office, and no one changed that order before he talked on Fox.
Okay, I want to get Olav in here because we're going to spend a lot of time, Bob, on this, and we'll get back to you. Olav, what was your reaction when John Ratcliffe came out with that statement saying that we have objects flying in the sky that are going past the speed of sound without creating a sonic boom? This is happening more often than what's been reported. Like, this was scathing news, great scathing news for once, about UFOs and how they are actually quite perplexed about what's going on.
Well, I mean, when releases like this take place, everybody goes disclosure, and I just don't buy it. I mean, the thing that I found interesting, right, is about timing. That at the same time Radcliffe comes out and says whatever, which, there are methods that he could do it without authorization, right? That he puts a lot of things at risk, as Science Bob will tell you, but he could do it without being told it's okay. There are ways in the intelligence world that you can do that. You can't say certain things in certain ways, but you can say other things in other ways. But what I found interesting is that he comes out and says that on the drive, there's a big report of these objects fluttering around a guided missile cruiser that was confirmed by 2 other guided missile cruisers and a Carnival cruise liner. And Luis Elizondo comes out, and now he's going to have a website and tell everybody how it is. I think that what you're seeing is a series of events. And I was actually on a podcast last night, and they asked me about this, and I think that all of it, the Fox News stuff, the article on the drive, the stuff that's been seen on The Intercept, Luis Elizondo, I think these things are all carefully orchestrated, because I think those objects that they're talking about, I think those objects that have been seen, I think they're ours. And I think that they're kind of wrapping a context around them. But I don't think that anything major, massive is going to come of it. I think what's going to come of it is the government's going to say, yeah, sure, there's a bunch of stuff we don't know, but we're on it, and that's about it. I don't think there's going to be anything earth-shattering, because to have something earth-shattering, this goes back to the Brookings study, right? Anything earth-shattering is
right.
going to cause ramifications around the world.
All right, Asherah, I want to get you in here if you don't mind, to talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so when you started hearing the reports of Radcliffe, Marco Rubio gets hit up with a dumb luck interview from a guy from TMZ who sounds more paparazzi than anybody asking serious questions. But Rubio, I thought, showed some real professionalism in answering his aliens question. What has happened this week with the new sightings that came out, that happened in 2019, and now we've seen Ratcliffe and Marco Rubio. Why do you think all of this is all in conjunction within the last 7-8 days?
I mean, honestly, you're going to see the next steps and the way things are progressing starting to happen more frequently. And I just felt like at the end of March, at the beginning of April, there was something significant that was going to occur. And those 2 days stuck out to me. And I really kind of wonder what it pertains to. And it very well could pertain to these series of events. And the way they just happen, it's almost like there's something big. It seems like it may happen. I know that, other people might say otherwise, but I'm kind of curious to see what's coming up next, because there's just a lot that's getting ready to blow open, I feel like.
So if it blows up and, let's say June 1st is held, and I'm hearing from sources that something could be announced before that June 1st date, even though everybody from Luis Elizondo and other intelligence agents are asking for that date of June 1st to be pushed back to an infinite date or an indefinite date, which usually means it'll never come out. Do you think, Asherah, that we are building to something major, or we are building to some sort of confirmation, or is it all hype and we're going to be let down very much like we would be if we got turned down at the gates of the prom?
I don't know. I kind of feel like the hype may be misplaced, honestly. But yeah, I do feel like there's a lot of hype involved. However, I'm really curious to see what's going to come of it, but I don't think it's going to be what people expect, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, let's bring Lynn Wallington in here, and she's former MUFON, former with the Free Experiencers. Lynn, I want to ask you regarding this. What was your reaction to all of the UFO news this week?
I don't buy it for a second. I think it's all orchestrated. I really do. I agree with Bob in some respects. I agree with Olav in some respects. Like, I think they know exactly what they're saying. They know exactly what they're doing. I think we're going to start to see more and more as we approach that June 1st deadline. Or if they push it out, then I think it'll dwindle until, I guess if there is no deadline, it depends on what happens with it. But I really don't think a lot's going to come from it. It'd be cool if it did, but...
Okay, so let's open up the panel to all of you. Yeah, Olav, go ahead.
One thing that I would say, excuse me, frog in my throat. One thing that I would say, at least for me, is that generally when I see these kinds of things happen, the first thing that pops into my head is, okay, what's really going on? And you see in the last week, you see all this movement, where they're talking about, UAPs. They've been rebranded. UFOs, old 270s, right? So now we're on UAPs. But UFOs, UAPs, whatever. All this information coming out. Elizondo's out there. Ratcliffe's out there. Everybody's out there, talking. Meanwhile, they're not covering the fact that the North Koreans just tested another ICBM. So it's like you see these things, churning in the news, and it's like at the same time they're churning in the news, there are other things happening, and I think that sometimes they churn this stuff up and create the hype, as one of the other panelists pointed out. They create this hype to kind of obscure other things that are happening, because the North Koreans testing another ICBM class. It wasn't just it wasn't just a missile that they were testing. This was a completely new missile. It gets no coverage, but I can go on Fox or CNN or MSNBC or whatever, and I can hear about some UFO hype. So I think sometimes, this goes back to the A-12, right? We've discussed this before. When they built the A-12, the predecessor to the SR-71, the CIA actively said that it was a UFO. They perpetuated the idea that the A-12 streaking across the sky was a UFO. So they've used UFOs for quite some time. And these objects that have been reported, like the one that was on the guided missile cruiser, these objects that they're seeing are consistent with other things that have been seen too. There was a MiG-29 intercept that happened, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, out in the Russian Far East. This guy chased something that was very reminiscent of these lights that we're seeing over the guided missile cruiser. And that was obviously not alien, because once the fighter started to intercept it, the object, whatever it was, made a beeline for a NATO-aligned country, which an alien is not going to do. They don't care NATO or Russia, Warsaw Pact, whatever. They're going to just do whatever. this thing actually started to make it for Western Europe. So, you know, I would argue that it's like any disinformation. In disinformation, there's this thing called the golden thread, that you have a disinformation program, but that somewhere in it is this golden thread of truth, which may be that UAPs are real and this,
right.
we don't know what they are.
All right.
But the bigger construct around it
finish up,
is fake.
Okay.
Well, the bigger construct is fake, and it obscures stuff.
All right, Science Bob, I want to get you in here because I thought Olav brought up some very good points about, you know, is this a deflection? Why now, Science Bob? Why are we all of a sudden getting into this? Why the importance of UAP intercepting naval ships and aircraft when this has been going on for decades? What is the importance of it right now? I don't believe that it's just about Chris Mellon and Luis Elizondo putting pressure, or Harry Reid putting pressure on the government. There has to be something more to this than we're not seeing.
Okay, so Christopher Mellon went on Twitter today, and this is interesting that Mellon and Elizondo are speaking more on Twitter. But anyway, so Mellon got on Twitter today and said, sorry, let me preface this. A month ago, Mellon said, you know, I don't think we're going to get much in June. There's a lot of stuff in the way, and I don't think we're going to get much in June. And that deflected a lot of people's hopes, depressed them quite considerably. But today, Mellon said that senior leadership had stepped up to the plate and had been exerting pressure and providing leadership. And that was a much more hopeful message. And the stories that Radcliffe told were supported contemporaneously by this reported of the overflights of these 3-ship sortie off the California coast, where the description of that encounter was really interesting. So the really interesting is what I think are Tic Tacs. They called them, for whatever reason, they called them drones. I don't believe they're drones. They're Tic Tacs. And they overflew the ships, and one hovered over the deck of one of the ships. Under those circumstances, those ships have the right to engage because they've entered their airspace and they are clear and present danger to the ships, and none of them fired that we know of. So to me, for a while now, I've had this suspicion. And the suspicion is, given the 2004 Nimitz incident, all very quickly after the major interactions between the pilots and the Tic Tacs, the MIB came on board and grabbed all the tapes and ran. And no one knew how they got there. And you can listen to the people that were on board. They came and they demanded all of the evidence. And the captain of the ship and the commander of the fleet didn't interfere with these MIBs. It was as if they were prepared for the incident. And so I have had a suspicion for a while that what was going on in 2004 and what was going on with the 3-ship sortie is they are poking the bear to see if it'll growl, and they've gotten it to growl twice. I think they're trying to get the things to show up so they can gather data on what they are. That is my suspicion. So the Radcliffe thing, so again, let me say, other than the overflight of the 3 ships off the California coast, we've heard nothing new. All we've heard is Radcliffe now give more of a position statement from a more advanced, more high-level place than people who've made these statements before. That's shortly after former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, John Brennan, also went on an interview, and when asked about the UFOs, didn't deflect. He just came right out and said, we've got these things happening. So it just seems like, doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, doesn't matter whether you're part of a Republican or Democrat administration, people are coming out and saying that stuff's there. Now, again, we've seen no new evidence. We don't know that any of this is new, but you've got higher and higher ranking people weighing in saying it's true. I think that's the significance of what we've heard in the last month.
Lynn Wallington, let's see what you have to say about this.
It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is. Is that a candle?
Yes, I was showing you my candle of Carl.
I love it.
Yes, there's my candle of Carl.
Hello, Carl.
Yes. And then I got Carla here too.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Carl needs the Carla.
Exactly. Lynn, in your time, you've worked with some incredible people in ufology when you were really invested in the game. And hearing these stories of what Bob was saying, that this may be more than just an episode where these craft show up to see what the ships of the United States Navy are doing. To me, the way Bob explained it, and I'm going far-fetched here, okay, I'm going to turn the woo factor up by a notch or two, all right? To me, the way Bob explained it, it really sounds like a water version, an ocean version of Close Encounters of the Third Kind is happening. That there's trying to be, maybe have some interaction with these craft, call them in, do, that kind of thing. Am I far off on that?
So you think that the UFO/UAPs are trying to call in the Navy fighters, or the Navy fighters are trying to call them in?
The Navy ships are trying to call them in.
I mean, it's possible. I guess I would have two theories about that. So my dad was in the military, and so growing up, I grew up on military bases. He was in the Air Force. And the one thing I do know is that if you were anywhere you weren't supposed to be, if you drove by the planes too closely, or went on a road that you weren't meant to go on, you would get pulled over right away. So the reason I mention this is because I think it was Bob who was saying that if these objects are getting close to our Navy fighter planes, they would engage, one would think, or at the very least sound concerned. But on the videos, they don't sound concerned, they just sound excited. So to me, I don't think that it was anything they maybe hadn't seen before. I think there would have been a different reaction. However, if the Navy fighters are trying to call them in, then that could also explain their reaction as well.
Asherah, let's bring you in here. Not to, you got about 1 minute here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour of the SOR Roundtable. When you hear what Lynn says, when you hear what Bob says and Olav, and you try and grasp the concept of how big this is, how much should we be paying attention as a collective group, not just ufology, but the people around the world?
I mean, as they were saying earlier, there's people that are higher up on the scale that are starting to come forward. And I think that really says something for our progression and how we're starting to accept these different theories and ideas. But I really think that it's more the underdogs you should probably be paying attention to, because those are the ones that I think are going to kind of blow some things out of the water.
Interesting thoughts. You know what? Panel, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we're going to continue the UFO talk. We're going to get more into the political side, because something that Bob McGwier said just moments ago, this isn't a Democrat thing. This isn't a Republican thing. This isn't a libertarian thing. This isn't a communist thing. This is something that affects every single person on this planet. And we need to figure out what we need to do to have more people outside of those of us who already believe to pay attention to this highly important subject. Are we alone in the universe? Are we alone on this planet? Do we have bases under the water? Are they interdimensional? When will Lynn cut her hair again? All on Spaced Out Radio, coming up next. That was a fast half hour. Holy cow.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was.
quick.
That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Super crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Of course.
Time warp again.
Are we gonna break into song because we can, but we can't go more than.
Got to do Rocky Horror Picture Show songs for at least half hour.
Yeah, but then we're gonna run into I can't, I'll get flagged by YouTube. I'll get flagged by YouTube. This show would be so. I can honestly tell you, this show would be so metal if I was allowed. If I had a music license, this show would be so metal. It would be so metal. Olav, you were a little quiet on that part. Is there any way you could turn your volume up a bit on your phone?
Sure, I'll try.
All right.
I shall do my best, Dave.
All right. That's all I can ask, man. That's all I can ask. See, this is why Olav pre-show stretches, just for these occasions right here.
Oh, yes.
I do.
I miss my pre-show stretches. Remember that next time.
Yep. Lynn does 45 minutes of yoga in front of her Beelzebub statue, right before it. I'm serious about that. I am totally serious
Dave,
about it.
That was our little secret.
Damn it.
Come on now.
I'm a public figure. I'm a public figure. All right? Mm-hmm.
You're a public blabber.
Yes, I'm a public blabber. Yes.
Tell him, Bob.
I'm impressed about the 45. What was it? Squats? I'm impressed.
I got tired just watching.
Oh, Dave, I wore a certain shirt for you today.
Yes. Yeah, there's my GNR shirt. Yes, little Paradise City right there. If you look behind me, where is it here? Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it, but behind the red guitar, there's my Appetite for Destruction album.
Wow.
Album.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yes.
That is.
That is impressive.
Mm-hmm. That's the way we roll around here. As much as Paradise City is my favorite song, I still wouldn't trade it for Little Brothers Watching as our intro.
It is a good intro.
It is.
It is.
But Paradise City is also a great song, so...
It is the greatest song ever written. Ever. No, don't even...
It's a good one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
do you want Saturday nights? Do you want to host Saturday nights, Lynn? Okay, because we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through an argument right now.
I love Paradise City.
Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say, "Welcome to the Jungle." Maybe my favorite. It's a little cliche, but I love it.
That's allowed to be your favorite, but it's still not the greatest song ever. That's Paradise City. Yeah. Anyways, by the way, for those who are listening.
Disagree.
I'm sorry, Olav. Our connection's getting a little rough here.
I disagree.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
You children.
I disagree.
Remember the impact of Stairway to Heaven.
I'm sorry. Is anybody hearing is anybody hearing Olav speak right now? Because I can't hear him right now.
You're just counting 20 years of rock songs. No.
Yeah, but you still dress like grunge is in.
Yeah.
When has it ever gone out?
I'm part of the grunge. That's right.
When has it ever gone out?
Oh man.
Oh, come on, Alice in Chains, Kurt Cobain, and come on.
Right.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Soundgarden, come on.
I like Soundgarden. I did like Soundgarden.
Of course you do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Rolling Stones songs.
Well, Jeremy Jones is
phenomenal.
Jeremy Jones is about to get his ass kicked in the chat room because he just said Axl Rose could go straight to hell. The gloves are coming off, Jeremy. The gloves are coming off here. Holy cow!
Words.
Oh man.
I mean, you're just counting Highway to Hell. There's so. Yeah, classic ACDC.
On the other hand, there's some really great stuff. I mean, the Budweiser Light New Year's Eve show with Post Malone playing with Slash.
That's
and all
good.
those people. That was fantastic.
All right,
show.
guys, hold on 1 second here. Thanks, Brad, Sparkles, Eric, Angie, and oh, geez, I'm missing a couple, but we're gonna
Prophets
get
of
things
Rage.
going right here. Here, hold on. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. The Roundtable continues tonight with Asherah 7. We got Lynn Wallington, Bob McGwier, who's looking gorgeous tonight, and Olav Phillips, our resident grunge lumberjack. The SOR Roundtable happens near the end of each month where we break down the month that was. We're talking UFOs here. And normally we try and stay away from the political side of everything on this show, but UFOs are taking a huge, huge leap in the political field. We have people speaking about this. Mark Warner. We have Marco Rubio, John Ratcliffe. We have former Senator Harry Reid, who's been very outspoken over the last year and a half or so. I want to start. John, I'm sorry?
John Brennan.
John Brennan. All right, Bob, you've worked in Washington, D.C. I want to start with you on this one. It's really starting to show. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, whether you are Republican. This is a happenstance right now that really is not about the politics, but really about the people. And there's a lot of people who seem concerned.
Well, so the thing that I want to point out is the last 4 years for the intelligence committees was an aberration, because the intelligence communities, they put people on there and they keep their partisan opinions to themselves, because they are there to do a nonpartisan thing, which is to ensure the national security threats that the United States feels it has to look at, ensures they're addressed without partisan bickering. So people discount the last 4 years of all that bickering that went on because of the Russia investigation. And now we're back to Marco Rubio and Mark Warner are working together. They're working together to bring this report out. And I'm worried that the report is going to be, for the public, mostly a nothing burger, other than people saying that stuff is real. We might get a few more videos. I'm worried it's only going to be blurry pictures rather than something interesting. And of course, you know, my own personal experience with inside information there, and because I've spoken of this openly on other occasions, I'll speak of it now. The photos that I have seen that have been taken almost exclusively by the United States Navy, and that's as far as I'll go here, are not to be doubted. Once you see them, you will have no doubt. And if only those come out, I will be one happy camper, because they were taken from the cockpit of airplanes flown by Navy pilots, and they are pretty amazing. So we've seen a weak one, but that was only one photo that was taken that day. And there are other photos that have been mentioned. I just want them to come out so that people can see them, and then to have some kind of statement that these are real. People need to stop being made fun of, and the United States government now orders all military people who have evidence to produce it and feed it into some system that they set up. And if that happens, I'm a happy camper.
All right, Asherah, let's bring you in here. You know, when we talk about UFOs and it's not really being a political side, at least we have something bipartisan that is going on. You know, for me being the token Canadian on this panel, our country hasn't talked about it at all. You know, in fact, I can tell you, I did an interview with CKNW in Vancouver with their top political reporter that they have, who does a 3-hour talk show. We talked about just about 10 minutes on the subject of UFOs. Not once did he ask me about what is Canada's role. Is this happening in Canada? What is happening with the Prime Minister? Not once. We talked about everything happening in the U.S. There's a lot of people who are looking at the United States, looking for leadership on this topic. Do you think that the government is playing stupid on this, whether it's Rubio, whether it's Ratcliffe, whether it's Brennan, whether it's Warner, or do you think that they are just trying to figure out how to sew together the loose ends so that way information about Roswell, information about Shag Harbor or the Phoenix Lights doesn't come out? We could keep this a military story, not a worldwide story.
Oh, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, what better way to dissuade from what's really going on except for with a bigger story, a more exciting story that gets your attention away from other things. So I definitely think that they're really persuading the attention to go elsewhere. And I think they might be even up to some other more recent no good. And maybe these recent events are intended to hide something bigger that they know about that they are trying to dissuade from.
Why do you feel that?
I mean, it's just, I guess it's just a hunch. It's just everything the way it's playing out. Why all of a sudden all this stuff? You know, I just think that there's something bigger that they're really just trying to keep from being brought into the public eye. So, you know, you create a big elaborate story and I'm not saying that. I just think that they're pulling strings. It's almost like puppeteering work, in order to, you know, conduct other things undercover without being noticed as much.
All right, Lynn Wellington, I want to get you in here on this. You know, looking at this as a bipartisan issue, are you concerned at all, Lynn, that we're only hearing stories that are happening with the United States Navy? We're not hearing Air Force stories, Army stories, Marine stories, Coast Guard stories. We're not hearing outside of what happened with the one airliner that was accidentally caught by United Airlines having an interaction with what looked to be a cruise missile tic-tac type of aircraft. Okay, we don't hear airliners talking about it. You know, we don't hear civilians talking about it. It's like we're not allowed to hear that right now, let alone talk about aliens. And that's a whole different subject right there. But have you noticed the pattern, and what are your thoughts on it, that this is just a military adventure right now? Everything is about the military.
Yeah, I have definitely noticed that. And it's not surprising because I think there are two things they can accomplish by making it a military story versus a worldwide or civilian story, which is one, they're telling the public, because the public, I think, is much more interested in these stories. Like the public is sitting there saying, we want to know, give us the information. So they're telling the public, they're giving us like little dribbles of information in what they would view as a very credible way, because if our US military is seeing it, then most people are going to accept it as fact. Also, the other thing they can accomplish by making it a military issue is that I'm sure they do know that people around the world are watching the US right now and watching and listening. And again, if it's a military issue, then that presents the world with our military has had interactions with these vehicles or whatever they are, even if they are extraterrestrial. So I would think the other governments might be going, what do they know that we don't? So it would serve twofold.
Olav, are you concerned that this has turned into a military issue and rather than a worldwide issue?
Well, I mean, it's always a military issue. You know, the Air Force's prime role is to defend the airspace over the United States. and in a larger context as a participant in NATO to, to join forces with our NATO friends to protect the skies over NATO, the NATO-aligned countries. One thing that I was going to point out is that, the other panelist was saying that, she had grown up on military bases and, you don't go where you're not supposed to go. And that, I grew up on them too. And that's very, very true. The other thing about that is that what I learned from having grown up in that kind of an environment was that through, personal knowledge is that things happen for reasons, that the military is very, very specific about why they do things. And the greater government, the intelligence services and of all countries, they don't just do things. Things don't just happen. So what I think you're seeing is it's a calculated thing. And I would argue that you're not hearing about the Air Force because the Air Force is involved. You're hearing about the Navy because they're testing it on the Navy. But yeah, I mean, it's fundamentally a national defense issue. I mean, because, it was back in Blue Book and Grudge, the Office of Special Investigations of the Air Force is arguably probably the Men in Black for a lot of cases. But they were tasked with researching what the UFOs were. And they went through, Air Material Command and the air intelligence to try to ascertain what these objects were. They still are. So, the military is the one that's supposed to defend our skies. So, it is fundamentally a national security problem.
Bob, your thoughts?
All right. Yeah, I want to add some stuff. So, a constant in the last 70 years of the coverage of the UFOs and what the government has mentioned never speak about some things until the last month. And what is that? Radcliffe mentioned right after Christopher Mellon put on the TTSA website a blog about our national systems that we have that he didn't say they were detecting, but he hinted they were detecting all sorts of things. But people don't mention these systems because they are really, really secret. And what most people don't know is the budget for those fancy systems is most of the intelligence budget, and by a lot. Okay. Radcliffe spoke about them directly. He spoke about our national technical assets. What makes the United States so special, and why are they always the focus? Because nobody else in the world has the national assets looking down on the earth, etc., from on orbit. No one has systems that are integrated like that or perform as well or even come close to it. And our Navy, since the Bretton Woods agreement at the end of World War II, has guaranteed the world that it will patrol the 7 seas and keep them free from piracy so that international commerce can happen. So the Navy is the largest Air Force in the world, much larger than the United States Air Force in terms of the number of planes, etc. And Radcliffe talked about these spy satellites that are in orbit, and nobody ever mentions them until Radcliffe does. That, to me, was shocking beyond compare, that he spoke of these systems that most people feel are verboten to even hint at.
All right, Bob, I want to get your opinion on something here, because Chris Mellon tonight was once again on Tucker Carlson talking about the report, and Mellon basically said that he believes this new report that is coming out is going to be much larger than Project Blue Book ever was, saying that because of the abounding evidence that this has no choice but to come out. But later in the interview, he clarifies that the public UAPTF report will be an unclassified report following a review of classified and unclassified material presented by UAPTF to lawmakers. So my question, and then I'll have a follow-up question for you, is what do you think we're actually going to see in that report? Can they give us anything besides a little bit of snippets, like 15-second videos of little dots in the sky that they're going to tell us are Tic Tacs or chewing gum or chewing tobacco?
Okay, so I believe that both the House and the Senate intelligence committees and the defense committees have secure facilities underground beneath the Capitol building and in the executive buildings. I believe all of their meetings will be held in these secure facilities where you can't get in if you don't have a top secret special intelligence security clearance, and that they will hear the real stuff, see the videos, see the radar tapes, see all the stuff they've got. And only if some high ranking official who is given permission declassifies something will we see it. And the thing that's so interesting about now mentioning these national assets is the stuff they have is going to be amazing. And I just don't believe we're ever going to see it because it reveals how good we are. It reveals how good we are. Look, people in your audience know, and the public knows, that I started a company called Hawkeye 360. And this company finds transmitters on the ground using spacecraft in orbit. And I have, several spacecraft in orbit, and they look for transmitters on the ground. And we're locating things to a few meters. And this is a bunch of satellites that are no bigger than a desk. And just imagine what the United States can do with its assets on orbit. And you can see unbelievably exquisite detail using these assets. People have seen Planet Labs and Digital Globe and all these things, pictures from on orbit. And if you can see that from these commercial companies who are spending under $1 million per spacecraft, imagine what our intelligence community can see from on orbit with these things that look like the Hubble telescope, except they're pointed down. Okay, I mean, we're not gonna see that stuff. We're not going to tell all of our adversaries how capable we are.
Can I give you an example?
Yeah.
So back in the 80s, there was a book published about the Keyhole Satellites, which is an older variant of what he's talking about. And even back in the 80s, the demonstration, granted it wasn't an actual demonstration, but it was to show the kind of level of capability, is that the picture started on like the Western Hemisphere, then it went to like North America, and it kept drilling down until it was California. It was, the Bay Area was Sunnyvale, it got all the way down. And the last photo was a guy laying on a hammock reading War and Peace, and the book was open on his chest, and you could read the words off the page.
Now we have machine learning enabled super resolution. Right. People go look up machine learning enabled super resolution, and you can see that we can take these pictures that are blurry and make them crystal clear.
We got 5 minutes to go here, guys.
They're watching me in real time. I'm standing out in my backyard, and they're probably watching me in real time on multiple wavelengths. It's that sophisticated. And the thing that he was talking about before, it's called a skiff. And these skiffs are very hardened rooms, and they definitely exist in pretty much every governmental building has at least one skiff. But and private companies like Lockheed and others, they have them as well. And this is where you kind of discuss this stuff. That you take the information into the skiff, and then it can't leave the skiff.
Yes.
So
I actually talked to someone who just came out of a skiff one night. And I had no idea what a skiff was. And,
there you go.
And yeah, so I will confirm that.
They're creepy.
All right, let's get the ladies' opinions in here. Lynn Wallington, I know you have these new glasses that you're testing out. By the way, they look good on you. They do. They look good on you.
Thank you.
I'm curious in regards to where this is all going and the political side and the agenda. Is this more, in your opinion, about disclosure, or is it about confirmation?
I don't know that it's about either. I think it's, or maybe I could say it's a little bit of both. I think it is orchestrated. I think it is done with a purpose. Do I think it's about disclosure? No, I don't. I think they're making it seem like it's about disclosure, but I really don't think we're going to get a whole lot. Hey, it would be great if we did. I would love it. But I just don't really see it happening. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand, I guess. Eh.
A little, a little. Well, that's the most important noise of the night you will hear on this show. Lynn going, there we go. Solves everything. Asherah, let's get your opinion. Disclosure, confirmation, or other?
Definitely other. I don't think it's definitely not about disclosure. I don't think. I would say that.
You put your microphone on mute again. We're not hearing you.
I'm sorry. I would say that definitely what you're seeing going on is just a lot of. I just think it's a lot of mispersuasion. It's a lot of dissuasion. It's not about confirmation. It's more about dissuasion. I feel like it's steering the wheel the other way.
Okay, so what are we missing in your opinion? What are they trying to dissuade us from?
I think it has somewhat to do with the fact that they're now allowing private companies to attempt to build space stations in outer space and orbit. I think that there's a plan that kind of intertwines with that concept. Why are they all of a sudden giving private companies the ability to do this? And what's the ultimate goal of these private companies? Are they going to turn into a resort? Are they going to turn into a study place? Or what's going on? And I don't know if I should mention the company because I kind of have shares with them, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I just think that there's some intertwining going on, and I think that these space stations that are being built, they're being built for a reason other than, use for study or use for resorts or use to put people on, I think.
Mm-hmm. Olav, let's get to your opinion. Let's get to your opinion. Disclosure, confirmation, or other? We have 90 seconds.
Other. I think that this is part of a calculated plan to maybe release enough information to get the public off their back. And I mean, these projects are generally are special access programs that are controlled by private companies, and they do that so that they can evade FOIA. I mean, the Tic Tac was probably built by Lockheed, so I think that these things they're doing it this way to release just enough so that they don't have to really discuss it further and cover up things that they're really doing.
All right, Science Bob, we got 1 minute for you. Disclosure, confirmation, or other?
So we've already had confirmation because the Pentagon said the videos are real and they are of unknowns. So we've had confirmation. And so if they move us further along the way from confirmation to more disclosure, that would be great. But are we going to get told that they have crashed UFOs? Are we going to get told they have alien bodies? Are we going to get told that they can see them in orbit every time they go up and look? No, we're not going to be. And unless they start doing that stuff, it's not really disclosure. And we still have no idea what Space Force is actually for. And we don't know why. Because we already had a Space Force that could take care of what we were doing inside the United States Air Force. I don't know what the Space Force's new mission is. But I just think we're not going to get full disclosure. We're going to get movement in that direction.
All right, Asherah 7. We have Olav Phillips. We have Lynn Wallington and Science Bob McGwier here on Spaced Out Radio for the SOR Roundtable. It happens near the end of each month. When we come back, is Bigfoot a monkey? Is it Nephilim? Is it something more? We've debated this before, but I'll explain why it's coming up again. Starting hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio, coming up next. All right, you guys are live on YouTube. I'll be right back.
Woo!
I'm gonna go take my pups out.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah,
Hey, Bob. That's also assuming that the Pentagon was telling the truth
it's true.
when they said they were unknown. I doubt it.
I'm going to tell you what Susan Goff said
Can
in
you
her
guys
press
hear me
release.
okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we hear you.
Okay. My mic's just fritzing out on me, so I just want to make sure.
Yep.
You're good.
Sounds good.
No, I don't know that was an honest appraisal. That they didn't know what it was. I think they probably did.
Yeah, I think they probably did too.
Oh yeah.
It's the politicians and the political appointees saying that these things are unknown that is more impressive to me than what Susan Goff says from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs Office.
However, I'm going to say something that's shocking to everyone. Politicians from time to time say what they think people want to hear. So it's also possible they're just saying that because it sounds good to the public.
That's true.
Just a thought.
Yeah, the political appointees, politicians, they very rarely know everything. They very rarely know anything.
Right. I think so too. I don't think they're in the need to know.
Keeps them in the dark.
Yeah, they're not in the need to know category.
No, not by long. Well, they moved a lot of that stuff after the Aurora was in the budget. They moved a lot of that stuff to special access programs so that you can't FOIA it because all the information about it's sitting at Lockheed or Northrop or Boeing or General Atomics or whoever.
Right.
In fact, if I recall, Elizondo himself was a defense contractor. He wasn't actually DOD. He was a defense contractor of the DOD.
Who was Elizondo?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I believe he was a defense contractor.
I got to say, okay, so complete tangent here. Well, not really, because it was a very high tech. Oh, still is a very high tech airplane, one of the greatest ever made. I saw somebody in the chat say they got to sit in an SR-71. I don't remember who it was, but I'm very jealous of you.
That's cool.
Yes, greatest plane ever.
Jealous. I sat in the Spruce Goose. I sat in the cockpit of the Spruce Goose. That's the best I did.
Nice.
Did you sit in the same chair Howard Hughes sat in?
I sure did.
Wow.
I have a photo of me sitting in it.
That's amazing. And you know how gutsy he was if he got that thing off the water and in the air. Because that thing's a massive plane.
Oh, yeah.
He was not afraid. He was not afraid of anything.
Not flying, no. He was afraid of a lot of things, but not airplanes.
No. In an airplane, he was free.
But actually, a Howard Hughes project is probably very analogous to this discussion that we had, which was Project Azorian. When they built Project Azorian, they lied through their teeth on what that thing was.
Yeah, I mean, Nixon they didn't even ever mention the word Glomar Explorer until ages later, and they definitely didn't tell us it was picking up a Russian submarine. That was all disinformation.
Right. And actually, the Glomar Explorer, up until a few years ago, was actually parked not far from where I live. But eventually, I guess manganese nodule mining became economically viable because it was indeed a fully operational mining ship. So they retrofitted it. I think they sealed the doors on the bottom when they took that thing out into the ocean. So it's actually mining now.
Hey, where did Asherah go?
Maybe she had to take a break.
I don't know. Let's see where she is.
I have to take a break. These topics are too mind.
I was just working. I was switching out mics because my mic keeps coming unplugged. It keeps muting me. So
yeah,
I'm good now.
All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure we hadn't lost you there.
There's a great documentary on Amazon about about Project Azorian.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
We have
really
90 seconds left.
Dave, they recovered at least the front 2/3 of a ballistic missile submarine from the bottom of the ocean.
Yep.
Nice.
That's pretty impressive.
Even more important, they got the crypto gear.
Yeah, they got the crypto gear. They got the missiles. They got the experimental torpedo. The only thing they didn't get was a reactor.
Right.
Was that the Russian one in Alaska?
No, that was the Russian
in
one
the Pacific.
in the Pacific.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Deep.
Very cool.
Yeah, and actually, you know what's funny about that is that when it imploded, the hydrophones that actually picked up the implosion were part of a still existing Air Force hydrophone network that dots the entire ocean. That hydrophone network is actually owned by the Air Force, not the Navy, which I thought was fascinating.
All right, guys, we have 30 seconds here. A big thank you to everyone who has donated on the Super Chat tonight so far, and we really do appreciate the love and support that all of our listeners give us on a nightly basis here on the show. You have no idea how much appreciation I have for you guys. Thank you to everyone who has joined our subscriber list. We passed over 11,000 this week. I'm very, very happy about that. Here we go, everyone, with hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gadroon. Gadroon is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with the SOR Roundtable. We do it near the end of each month, where we bring in a panel of really cool people with very, very unique backgrounds to talk about the month that was in the weird of strange. Tonight we are joined by our resident Spaced Out Radio witch and our future Saturday night host on YouTube and Spreaker, Lynn Wallington. We have Olav Phillips from Paranoia Magazine, Asherah 7, who we just met last week as a guest, but she seemed pretty cool, so we asked her on here, and Science Bob McGwier. Everyone, we're going to talk a little Bigfoot here. We're going to shift gears for a little bit. And earlier this month, about 7-8 days ago, I saw this British Columbia Bigfoot researcher. I'm going to keep his name out of it. He's got a nice beard, though. I will say that. And this gentleman has a company called Big Monkey Productions. And I've seen him speak at one conference. Very much believes, and only believes because he's so scientific that way, that we're looking for a North American monkey. Great ape. There's nothing supernatural about it. There's nothing foreign about it. There's nothing about this except it is a monkey hiding in the forest. Everything he says is about the monkey. And yet, Bob, I see you shaking your head there, and yet he has the audacity to talk about how he wants to start a GoFundMe page to go look for Bigfoot in the British Columbia forest on a 2-month adventure. And it's all going to be scientific, with a bunch of amateur scientists out there conducting amateur research. Bob, I know you're probably grinding your gears on this one as a professional scientist your entire life. I'm going to let you have at it first.
It's just preposterous. Any ape or monkey or chimpanzee or human in the world leaves behind evidence which is clearly, easily found. No ape population on Earth won't leave fur, scat, other things behind that are easily identifiable as being from a primate. It's just ridiculous. So I'm going to say I'll give him twice as much money if he'll bury his head in the sand and go away.
But to me, this says more, Asherah, about the climate of the community, that we are hiding behind the word science once again in the face of opinion. We have an opinion. We're allowed to research that opinion. And I'm not, dragging on anybody who does not have a scientific background like Bob or Olav here. Okay? I'm not saying that amateur science isn't important, because let's face it, the scientific community has not done a good job at going after the evidence and looking for this creature. However, when you're basing your research on opinion rather than scientific theory, hypotheses, or anything like that, what exactly are we doing? And to me, it's baffling that many in the Bigfoot community, Sasquatch community, are actually behind something like this. Are we that naive?
For a majority of people, maybe. No, I really think that people are assuming that Bigfoot is a creature that is known to them because it's what makes sense for them. That how can this be a creature that is not just simply flesh and blood undiscovered creature? It's a hard concept for the average person to grasp that there could be something more to Bigfoot. And it's unfortunate because, you get a lot of people out there that are preaching science and this and that, who, I'm again not dogging on people who don't have a science degree, because obviously I don't either, that don't have a science degree, that are basically just regurgitating things that they've heard. They're not really going out and doing their own research. And I think that's a big problem in the Bigfoot, amateur Bigfoot field. They're not doing their own research. They're just regurgitating things that make sense for them.
I mean, to go out, Olav, and look for or ask people for a GoFundMe page and to put 30 people in the forest in an area where there is hotspots, and that's pretty much all of British Columbia where there's forest. I mean, that's a lot of money they're going to have to raise, and I think they've raised like $750 of the $20,000 that they were asking for, or something along those lines. But I mean, you're a scientist. I believe you have your degree in engineering, if I'm correct.
No, actually, I don't. I studied anthropology and sociology.
Okay,
so I actually I did physical anthropology and primatology.
Okay, so with primatology and anthropology, this is right up your alley, and I apologize for mixing up your accreditation, but I mean, for someone who has looked in, for someone who is familiar, you've had Bigfoot encounters, I believe, near your property in Oregon. How about for you, when you hear that, people are so desperate to try and make a name in this field that they're hiding behind the scientific side. They're hiding behind, their personal belief rather than letting the evidence do the talking, and refusing to hear evidence or use evidence to the contrary of their own personal belief.
In physical anthropology, there was a consensus of opinion that if Bigfoot is real, and again, I saw it on Mount Adams actually, but two of them. But if it is real, that it's some derivative of a form called a Giganopithecine, and which is real. I mean, it would look like a Bigfoot. But no, I think there's some truth to that. I think that if you're going to say I'm going to do it scientifically, I think you need to do it scientifically, right? There are cryptozoologists out there in the past and in the present that do have the backgrounds, and they do approach it. Ivan Sanderson was a zoologist. I mean, they approach it from a scientific point of view. I think if you want to go on a Bigfoot hunt and just go see Bigfoot and try to figure it out, I think that's okay too. But I think that if you're going to take people's money, which I think is the most important part here, and say, well, I'm going to do it scientifically. I think you really need to, and not do it half-assed.
No, I understand that, and I can appreciate that, and I can appreciate the amateur science level. You know, Lynn,
Right.
before I bring you in on this, Olav and Bob being the scientists here, you know, I'm curious in regards to the thought of the importance of amateur science in pushing the field forward, because we don't have a lot of degreed individuals running around the forest looking for this creature. I think it's very important. However, they have to understand they have to have a simple understanding, though, of how science works. Bob, I see you giving thumbs up.
Well, look, I mean, let me give an example I think most people can relate to. So people know that we have put these really interesting spacecraft out in our solar system, and what they're doing is they're looking up at the sky and they're taking pictures of stars. That one is called TESS, and what TESS is doing is taking pictures of stars and looking for the light of these stars to dim. When the light of these stars dim, they infer that a planet has moved across the face of the sun, so that's the evidence they have for an exoplanet. Now, why are amateurs important? Because these are super expensive spacecraft. It's ridiculous to get time on these super expensive spacecraft or the super expensive telescopes, and they can't afford to go back and check all these things to see if they got it right or to get more data, and that is the role for amateurs to play. So if you think it's really valuable in astronomy, imagine how valuable it is in cryptozoology, where you got 5 or 10 people that are really serious, and they need thousands of people to help them go out into the wilderness and look in these forests to find evidence that everyone will believe. So the only real way is to try to engage with a cryptozoologist and say, what are the kind of things I can do that will help me feel important, but let me help you? And if they organize it that way, they can be very, very valuable as amateurs.
Olav.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you know, the equivalency to satellite time, it's very much true. I mean, you may have 5, 10, 20, maybe 100, you know, primatologists or zoologists or, you know, biologists in the world that are actually really interested in cryptids, but you have millions of people who are. So, you know, if these millions of people are going out, it's a force multiplier. They go out in the forest, they find the tracks, they find the scat. You know, if there's a kind of procedure for, okay, I found a track, this is what I should do, and then submit it back, you know, for scientific evaluation, then, you know, this biologist who has very limited time can say, well, this looks like a hot spot. There's a lot going on out there. I better go there, because obviously they can't go to the millions of different places across all of North America, you know, where Bigfoots have been seen, right?
Very true.
They can't contaminate the evidence. They can't contaminate the evidence. They got to figure out how to gather it.
And that's the big one. And I want to bring Lynn in here. You know, when you look at it, like Bob said, you can't contaminate the evidence. Amateur science is very important when it comes to chasing down these creatures, because people who have interest make time. They're willing to spend their own money. They're not waiting for government grants or private grants or whatever in order to fund research. So we have to be able to rely on the amateur scientists. So if you were someone out there, Lynn, who wanted to give advice to somebody who's going out in the Bigfoot world, what advice would you give them on an amateur science level?
On an amateur science level, well, all right. Well, I will tell you, I have a little something that might surprise you, Dave. When I was first in school, before I became a psychology major, I was actually a zoology major.
That I didn't know. I knew psychology.
Yeah, yep. So I do have a little experience with the science. I would say exactly what, you know, Science Bob and Olav were saying, which is it's great to have volunteers. You need to have volunteers, but they do need to be trained how to properly gather evidence so they don't contaminate it. But yeah, I mean, the more people you can have going out there, these these forests are huge. So the more people we can have going out there, as long as they're trained appropriately, I think it's a great idea.
Okay, but for you, looking into this from an outsider's perspective and seeing what's going on, would you trust something like this as an accurate study?
Depends on who's heading it up. If it were, a primatologist, an anthropologist, somebody who knew what they were doing, yeah, I would trust it. Obviously, you would need to be able to replicate the results if they were to find something. But yeah, I mean, if it was headed up by the right person and they conducted it in the right way, sure, why not?
That I agree with. That I agree with if you had the right person heading up. But to have someone who has no scientific background heading it up, who's already made up their minds of what this creature is, what's the purpose of wasting money on that?
Right. Well, that's absolutely true because he's not objective. And in order to truly, conduct a scientific study, you need to be objective. You can't be, skewing the results one way or another. So I do believe that the person heading it up has to be objective. They can't have their mind made up already.
Asherah, do you want to check on in with us on this one?
Yeah, I do actually. And I absolutely agree that obviously amateurs are important in this field, in any field. That's where you begin. Everybody begins as an amateur, if you will. The problem is that scientists don't step into this sort of research like people who have a science degree don't tend to step in this research because you get so many people that are running around and the people who are trying to lead groups and stuff who aren't seeking a good amount of knowledge in what they're trying to research before they're trying to lead these large groups and whatnot. So that tends to make the people who do take this type of research seriously look bad, and that pushes real science study away from this field. So if we were able to organize and get together people who are amateurs who are willing to go out and be scrupulous and look at every fact and look at every bit of information when they come on to an investigation, then I think that's a great way to do it. The problem, however, is that you've got so many people out there that just want to get their name and some headlines. They're willing to make whatever up that tend to ruin it for everybody else. But I think if more scientists were to step into this field and more people knew that real science was going to be done on this evidence that they were going to bring forward, they would be less likely to try to fake stuff, I feel like, because they would get caught. So right now it's just so easy to hoax and to mislead and to lead astray people that nobody really wants to get into this and a serious scientific aspect. It's a lot of fun and games for people. I think they don't look at it seriously enough.
It aggravates the crap out of me. There's 1 million square kilometers in British Columbia of forest. 1 million square kilometers. And there's nobody, essentially no one looking except a handful of amateurs. And if they did it with a purpose and helped out somebody who knew how to guide them, it would be great.
Bob, I want to ask you on this, Bob. Why do you think so many scientists are adverse to looking into this subject? And I'll give you an example of someone who did, and he's actually a part of the SCU, is a gentleman out of Simon Fraser University. His first name is Paul, and Paul actually has been a guest on this show, Paul Kingsbury, pardon me, and he went in and he actually got a grant a few years ago of $185,000 to research why people investigate the paranormal, supernatural, and cryptids and UFOs. All right. He went in as a complete disbeliever over the 4-year study. He thought people like all of us here listening to this show were wingnuts, that we were the prototypical nighttime gas station jockey who has never made more than minimum wage their entire lives. That's what his perception of what was of this subject. Boy, did he have his eyes open. He went on paranormal investigations. He went on UFO investigations. He went on cryptid investigations. And let's just say that he's now very much a believer in the subject. Why do you think, though, even on a non-granted level, that many scientists absolutely dodge this subject of Bigfoot, especially in British Columbia or Washington State or wherever?
It's easy to explain. You said why this guy did it, and it wasn't to study those subjects. The grant was to study why people are stupid enough to study those subjects. So you named it right there. It's because scientists are not funded by the universities they work in to do the science. Scientists are funded by grants and contracts that come from external entities that fund their activities, like the National Science Foundation or the National or NASA or the equivalents in Canada. And so the facts are, without the bucks, there's no Buck Rogers. Without the bucks, there's no ghost hunter scientists, and that's the reason. They have to support themselves. They have to support their graduate students. They have to give a cut to the university for hosting and paying for their lab equipment. And it's just until such time as there is money available to pay for the scientists' activities, it's not going to happen.
Okay, and I just want to add one more thing here to that. What about just personal curiosity?
I'm personally curious. That's Olav's personally, but all of us are personally curious, or we wouldn't be on with you, Dave. But nobody is going to write us a check to go look for UFOs on behalf of the United States government from the National Science Foundation.
It's career suicide. They see it as career suicide.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if they go do this stuff, whether it's ghosts or UFOs or anything else, you know, they're going to be the laughing stock. And it's an industry. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I went to a pretty decent 4-year university, right? But you know, I had one of my classes. It was cultural theory. It was taught by a graduate student. And she was actually doing a study, a cultural study of beer makers in Poland, and you know that was okay. I mean, she could do a cultural analysis of the subculture of people who make beer in Poland, and she was fascinated by UFOs and fascinated by Bigfoot. But you know, if she actually tried to do research on it, you know, she basically get kicked out of grad school because it's seen as fringe science. And I think a lot of the reason is because, you know, there are a lot of people out there, I don't name names, but we all know who they are, that make wild claims and they're asinine. And, you know, the people who do the hard science that really have the equipment or the knowledge to do it, they're afraid because then they get tied to what you call the proverbial wingnut. So it's like career suicide, and they live and die on funding. So they are unwilling to risk it. It's like a movie. You guys know the Alan Smithy thing? It's like a mainstream director that makes a movie. He's unhappy with it. David Lynch and Dune, classic example. There's an out clause in their contracts that say that they can have the movie made as Alan Smithy because they don't want their name tied to it. This is the same equivalency.
All right. Lynn, you get the final word on this as we got about 40 seconds.
I mean, I completely agree. I was going to say the same thing. It's career suicide if they do it. And unfortunately, that's just the way that it is at this point in time. I wish it were different. I wish they were free to do the research, but nobody's going to risk their career to do it, or very few will.
No.
That's sad.
No one will.
Because you'd think as a scientist, and I remember talking to another scientist about this, that most scientists are geeks. They're sci-fi fans. And the fact that they wouldn't go out and explore this, even on their own cognition.
They do.
Well, many don't.
They do, though.
Many
They
don't.
do. They do. They do, and they stay quiet.
Do.
They do, and they stay quiet.
Well,
there are probably dozens of zoologists and physical anthropologists and other people trekking around, you know, in Northern California, Oregon, Washington.
Olav, we got to wrap it up here, man. Got to wrap it up. We got commercials coming on up. Spaced Out Radio, second half of the show, the Roundtable, Olav Phillips, Lynn Wallington, Asherah 7, and Science Bob. Next.
Hear about the eDNA that was found and analyzed?
No.
So there's a show, I think it's on the Travel Planet, where they go looking for Bigfoot. And one of the people they have on the show is Dr. What is her name? Maria Mayer, I think. And she's a primatologist. And so she kind of was, the skeptical one going in there, but has an open mind. And they found these footprints that looked like Bigfoot footprints. And so before they did anything, before anybody touched them, Dr. Mayer went over, she scanned them, she took some eDNA samples, and I just actually saw it earlier today that, let me pull it up, I think I have it still on my phone, that when it was analyzed, it was found, hold on 2 seconds, that it says, okay, so they said they did detect some human DNA, which wasn't surprising. There wasn't just one human primate. There are several different primates, some sort of primate relative that exists in the data. And basically what they were saying was that the DNA was within the chimpanzee genus. And this was in Washington State, I believe. So it's interesting.
Yeah, Dr. Maria Mayer, a primatologist.
Yeah.
Bob, send her a message.
I'll send you the article, Bob.
Oh, I can't
Please
wait.
send it to me as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
See it too.
Yeah, sure.
My professor, my physical anthro professor, he was fascinated by it, but he wouldn't do anything with it. The only thing he did in our class is he made a fake video of him dressed up in a gorilla suit. He said one day, we're going to talk about Bigfoot, and everybody in the class was like, yay! And then he shows this like fucked up video.
Oh no.
We're all no. But then
I have a question for Lynn. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say we discussed Gigantopithecus. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that's cool. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Lynn, do you say they said they found it in Washington State?
Yeah, it was in Washington State.
Oh, okay. I must have. I thought it was in Kentucky somewhere. I'm gonna have to reread that.
You're thinking of the right show. They started out in Kentucky and then they switched to Washington State.
And then they moved. Okay, so that's where I was confused because I was going to say that makes kind of a big difference for what I was looking at it as. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I was actually looking into that.
Yep.
But
all right, I think
the more important part is the best environmental DNA people around are these California people that analyze the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is pretty serious.
All right, yeah. So I have it in the chat for anybody who wants to see it in our group chat.
Do you want to post that in the Actually, I'll grab it here and I'll post that in the YouTube chat room so that way.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Can you post links on the YouTube chat room?
I can, and my wrenches can.
Okay.
Can you send it to me, Dave?
Oh my God, Olav. Do you want me to read it for you too, or what?
Yes, please.
You jerk. You jerk, buddy.
Well, considering I'm the only one here that was actually trained in that crap, hey.
Right, yeah.
Hey, you're trying to pull a fast one on us, Olav Phillips.
Yes, you are. You're trying to get out there ahead of us.
That's right.
It wasn't all cults and revolutionary groups, guys. I did some other things.
Exactly. All right.
It's probably much more interesting than my zoology studies, which was more microbiology and.
No way.
Well, I didn't touch that stuff. Ugh, that's real science.
Hey, Science Bob.
Yes,
Bob,
sir.
big thank you for that super chat, by the way. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Thank you. And the rest of everybody else who has donated to the cause, it's a good way to support what we do on this show. You know what? We got to do it. Lynn, you get the choice tonight. Am I going with Winter Blend or am I going with True North?
Oh, I would say True North in honor of Washington State right now.
All right. So it is Mighty Moose Beard Oil time, people. One of our sponsors, Gary the Dutchman's going to give you a deal. If you use promo code SOR 2019, So you just, oh shit, I'm spilling it all over the place. Look at that. All right, just massage it in your beard. That's it, just massage it in. And hey, Brother Eugene, go to MightyMooseBeard.com and use promo code SOR 2019 because Gary the Dutchman's going to take good care of you. For ladies, it's good for your hair. There's no chemicals. Makes your hair look fantastic and lovely. And I've got to wipe the shit off my desk right now and put it in my hair so that way I can clean up my desk. Yeah. I knew one day I would spill it. I knew I would. But contact Gary the Dutchman. All the prices are in Canadian dollars, so all you American people will save some money. Olav Phillips actually bought some, and they're a good sponsor of ours. So go to Mighty Moose Beard. You can look as good as I do, even though I look like hell right now. And here we go. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really want to say thank you to everyone tuning on in, wherever you are on this planet we call Earth. Remember, all of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We got the paranormal panel here for the SOR Roundtable, which we do at near the end of each month. From Paranoia Magazine, we have Olav Phillips. Science Bob McGwier is here. You know him. Lynn Wallington, our resident witch and soon-to-be Saturday night host on YouTube and Spreaker, and she gets a little bit of excitement about that. And one of our favorite guests of recently, we have Asherah 7. And look, I'm going to stir up a little controversy here, if you guys don't mind. All right, I made a mistake tonight. I made a mistake. And what I did was I ended up tuning into a brand new podcast. It was about ghosts, and I lasted a total of 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Now, a lot of people will sit there and say, Dave, you're being a bully here. You're being a bully because you got those dulcet radio tones, for a voice. You got a face for radio. Well, some will say a voice for print as well. Okay, but there's a lot of bad podcasting out there. And I can understand and I can realize that there are a lot of people who want to get their message out. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from podcasting. All right, it's a great medium. It's a great way to get your message out. It's a great way to have fun. But by God, there's some bad ones out there. There's some real bad ones out there. Asherah, I know you're involved in podcasting. Would I last more than 3 minutes listening to yours?
I think so. It's not just paranormal. It's a mix and mashup of a lot of different things. So it tends to lean on, the supernatural and all aspects supernatural. However, there are some fun shows that he puts together too. So it's not just paranormal.
No. And trust me, this isn't about your show. So please don't take that. So
yeah.
all I know.
No.
All I know is the first word of this brand new podcast after horrible editing on the music was so.
I guess there is
I'm not done yet.
A lot of bad podcasting out there, but
I'm not done with my pregnant pause yet. So, yeah, I guess we're doing a podcast now. And I was like, maybe it's the radio guy in me, okay? Maybe it's the radio guy who I've been doing this a long time, not just this show, but with my radio background. And, it's the only thing I really get to brag about because Lord knows that I'm very unattractive. But, I just really, really was disappointed. And I've listened to others recently. And look, like I said, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. Okay, everybody deserves a right to podcast. Everybody deserves to get their message out and their voice heard. I'm good with that. But am I being a jerk here in saying, that some people just should not be in front of a microphone? Olav, help me out here. Am I being a jerk?
I think we're all entitled to have an opinion. I mean, it's like anything else. There's good ones and bad ones, and funny ones and not funny ones. It's like TV. Yeah, I think anybody has the right to do it, but it doesn't mean that they'll be successful at it.
And I understand that, but this also adds to the fact that literally there are over 10,000 podcasts, YouTube channels regarding UFOs.
I know, but if the people vote with their feet, right? If you start saying, well, we have to have this hierarchical classification of you get a podcast or a YouTube show or you don't. I have a friend. I have a friend he's a horror host. He has a TV show and he's had it for a long time, and it's really funny. It's really, really good. And he went to Comic-Con, and when he was at Comic-Con, he went to a panel on how to have a TV show. I mean, he was curious how to break in. Excuse me, how to break into one of the big, Shudder or Sci-Fi, whatever. So he went. So they go through this whole spiel about how to have a TV show, and it basically came down to you got to know somebody. And at the end, he said, "Well, he raised his hand, stood up, got the mic. He says, I have a TV show, and I've had it syndicated off and on for probably 20 years now. And how do I get into Shudder or Sci-Fi or whatever?" And the guy from NBC Universal, which owns Shudder, he was like, "Your TV show shouldn't exist. You don't exist. You're probably just one of those public access guys." And he's like, "I'm not a public access guy. I have a real TV show. It's pretty good. I got a lot of, it supports me, pays all my bills. It's all good." And he said, "Yeah, you shouldn't exist." And it's like, well, what right does that guy have to say that my friend's show shouldn't exist? I mean, we should all be able to do it if we feel like it, if we're passionate about it. It doesn't mean anybody's going to listen. I mean, the number of people that listen to the Paranoia podcast is probably far lower than what listens to, Spaced Out Radio, but, we enjoy doing it. And, we do it whenever we feel like it. We're not driven by it. But no, I think everybody should do it, but be prepared to fail, right?
I guess my question to you, Lynn, as I'll bring you in here. I don't have a problem with how many podcasts are out there. I don't have a problem with anybody who wants to podcast because it is fun. It is fun. And, for a lot of people, we can give it it's their voice to bring out. All right. But are we diluting the subject matter with so many different podcasts? Like literally, there's over 10,000 podcasts alone on all of the subjects that we cover on these shows. Mm-hmm. Are we diluting it? Is there too many people? Are there too many messages? Or is it the fact that it's the popular thing to do?
I don't know that I would say we're diluting it, because I think the shows that are done well, the shows that people enjoy, are the shows that the majority of people are going to see. So, the other shows that maybe aren't so great, they're not going to have a huge following. So it's not really, I don't see it personally as diluting the subject. So, I mean, I would say, why not? They can go for it.
No, but that's not the point that I'm getting at. Are there too many? Are there too many out there, too many choices where people are maybe not getting the right message that they want to hear? Yes, the listener always has a choice to listen to who they want to listen to. But let's face it, a lot of bad creates a lot of bad representation of the field as well.
So are you speaking just specifically to the paranormal field?
We're just sticking in this genre here.
Okay. I mean, potentially, but what are we going to do? Free speech. We can't limit them.
True.
So You know,
True.
people, I think, have to do their own research. You know, if they hear information that they find interesting before they accept it as fact, do their own research. That's what I always say.
All right, Science Bob, let's get to you.
I think people should be allowed to do what they want to do, and people can vote with their feet. They can love it or they can hate it, and that's you and I have acquaintances that have been or are friends that have these podcasts, and they can have from 10 people in them to thousands of people in them, and all of it's good. I don't listen to the ones that have 10 people in them, and I sometimes listen to the ones that have thousands in them, and that's the way it ought to be.
All right. I just had to vent on that. Maybe I'm the jerk. Maybe I am the jerk on that one. But, you know, I have no problem with anybody podcasting. I actually encourage people to get out there and do it. Have your voice, have your say, because maybe your say is more important than what you think it is. And it's always good to be able to have your say. You know, my big thing is I would love to see people before they get into podcasting or YouTube, you know, take the time to see what other people are doing. The biggest thing that I did when I got into this, you know, I was lucky I had a radio background, but I really listened to other shows. I really listened, did some homework on how you wanted it to sound, because sound is everything. And if you're trying to build a successful podcast out there, which I encourage people to do your homework, figure out the sound you want your show to be, and then rock and roll. Rock and roll. All right, let's move on here on the topic of the night, because we are going to get into the paranormal. We see a lot of people getting into the ghost hunting, and recently we've had a lot of big name people come on this show discussing all things ghostly around the world. One of the things and the pet peeves that I have with the paranormal world is I want to see more adventure. I want to know about a lot more of these small town stories out there on mainstream television. Now, I know there's people doing it on YouTube, all right, where they go to like all of these smaller towns and learn the legends. But are we missing the boat on some really good stories, Lynn, because we keep doing the same old, whether it's Waverly Hills or Alcatraz or Gettysburg or the popular locations? Everybody wants to get a mental institution notch on their belt. You know, it's almost like the military with their bars on their chest, where they want that ribbon, they want that medal to say they've been to Waverly Hills, they've been to Gettysburg. You know, it's the same topics and same people every time. Are we pushing the paranormal enough in order to see what else is out there?
I mean, I don't have a problem with them going back to the same places, you know, for several reasons. You know, are they going to get the same evidence that somebody else got? Are they able to replicate that? Also, they know they're going to have activity in those places, so why not go there? But yes, I also agree that there are a million small towns and places that we don't get to see that are haunted. So that would be great too.
I thought you would go longer on that. I did. I did.
Sorry.
You know, being my witchy lady, you know, I want to see more pushing the boundaries. And I've talked to Ross Allison about this. I talked to a couple of the guys from the television show Ghost Hunters from this. You know, and they agree. We aren't pushing the field, Lynn, as far as we need to. Okay, for these stories, never mind the investigation, but for the stories, because, you know, every state, every province in North America, they all have little backwoods towns in the middle of nowhere where it's population 52, and something amazing is happening there. If you could get the locals to talk to you about it. Those are the crazy stories, whether it's about ghosts, whether it's about Bigfoot, orbs in the sky running through the trees, or shadow people, or whatever it may be. You never know. You go around that next corner and you find it was an old mining community in Pennsylvania that had a collapse back in the early 1900s where 60 plus people died. I'm making that up right now, but there is that possibility. Those are the type of stories we need to push for in order to take it to that next level of entertainment, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think I said this maybe the last time we were talking about it, but like my own personal experience with that. So I live near Salem, Massachusetts. I know that's shocking, but there's a house right down the street from me that, so I guess the town that I live in was originally part of Salem. Salem was huge back in the witch trial years. And so there's a house right down the street from me that was a jail that held some of the accused. I had no idea about this. And it's maybe a mile from me, maybe. Had no idea. Drove by it every single day. Had no idea that it was even there. And now every time I drive by it, because they're stripping it down right now, so I can see all the old boards. So I'm always like, what's going on in there? I want somebody to investigate. So yeah, I agree.
Asherah, how about you?
I think that's a great idea. I think that a lot of the mystery is like the urban legends that you go into these towns. Every town has an urban legend. Every town has these similar stories. I think that we need to delve into those stories more, because oftentimes what you'll find out is when you start delving into these urban legends, while it may not be true, there are aspects to it that are very curious, very intriguing, and add even more mystery sometimes. And you can come up with some really great places to investigate by tracking down the true stories behind these urban legends of towns.
So do you think we're pushing the envelope enough, or do you think because of the popularity that people want to hit all these locations that they see their television heroes on, and that's good enough for them?
Well, it depends. I call those, most of us call those places pay to play. So you pay to get in there to investigate. Those places are good when you want to go test out new equipment, or when you want to go try to test out a theory in a very well-known active environment. But when you're really investigating and trying to push the envelope, however, you want to stay away from these big name places, because you've already been there, done that. A lot of people have been. So you want to investigate a whole new side of things. And a lot of times that tends to be these little small towns that aren't well known. And the stuff that you can come up with from those areas are just insane. There's this one incident of a town where this gentleman went to go investigate, and it wasn't my investigation, but another gentleman. He went to go investigate a road that was said to have like this abandoned, orphan home on it. And come to find out, this road, while the orphan home never existed, this road was full of just these crazy, weird things that would go on, and almost where people seem to go into like these possessed states. The crime rate was a lot higher on this road. It's just a lot of really cool little aspects that make the paranormal seem so much bigger, like it's stretching this whole street rather than it's just this little tiny orphanage. So you get this whole street to investigate rather than this little tiny orphanage. So investigating these urban legends can lead to a lot of cool things.
I think I know exactly what road you're talking about. Is that the one that supposedly has the gate to hell on it?
Yes.
Yep. I know exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Is it Toad Road? Is that what it's called?
What was it?
I think it's Toad Road. Is that what it's called? I think it's Toad Road.
Something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, but it's something. It's something Hill Road. I can't remember, but I think we did an episode on our YouTube channel about it. It was great.
We have that here,
yeah.
You got that there too,
We
Olav?
have one too. Oh yeah, we have a road that it has everything. It has Gravity Hill, it has a portal to hell, in an old slaughterhouse. But like you were saying here, I tell people we have a large mountain that's geologically very bizarre in our valley, and it's called Mount Diablo, the mountain of the devil. And the reason it's called that is because there's a cryptid that lives on it. And people I know here, they have no idea that there's a cryptid that supposedly lives on that mountain. Nobody invests the time to really research it.
Yeah, urban legends are great,
and that's what I want to see, Olav. That's what I want to see. I want to know those stories. Those are the stories that pique my curiosity. And I realize for a lot of people in the paranormal, especially, they want to hit those places that they see on TV. Like I can tell you right now, earlier today, I'm a roller coaster fanatic. I was watching these roller coasters in my Facebook feed of this coaster that I'm just like real excited about. Got me just like pumped up. I want to ride that roller coaster, you know, and we get excited about it because that's what we want to do. That's our level of excitement. So when you get fans of the television shows and they see them going to all of these insane asylums that are closed down, or the tuberculosis hospitals, or famous graveyards or battlefields, I can understand why the ghost hunter wants to add that notch to their belt, because they have that ability to say to their friends or their fellow ghost hunters, hey, guess where I went. It's a bragging point.
Dave, it's an entry drug, right? That it's like me watching Forged in Fire. I watch Forged in Fire. I watch them make all this stuff, and it's like, oh, I want to make that, so I bought a Forge and started to learn. You watch Ghost Adventures or whatever, and you say, oh, I want to go to Waverly Hills, and then you go to Waverly Hills, you see some crazy stuff, and then it starts to send you on the trajectory. I mean, for me personally, you very well know that I take road trips to all sorts of weird, crazy places because I'm beyond going to what's on TV. I have a thing for folklore, so I just, I go to the weird places, and I think we need to do that more, as everybody's been pointing out. But I think these big spots, the Stanley Hotel, I do want to go to the Cecil Hotel, but a lot of these other places, they're kind of the entry drug, right? That it's like, okay, I'm going to go there because I saw it on TV. Weird stuff happens, and then I want to go do more. I want to go to the Wally House or whatever.
Science Bob.
Okay, so I want to take a slightly different tack and bring up a couple of things. So I've been to a few places and I've had some experiences, but I was careful about who I went with. And the reason I was careful about who I went with is the people that went to Waverly or the big penitentiary in Philadelphia or the Cecil Hotel or whatever, these were human beings. And you're invading the home of their spirit. And the disrespect and torture that I see being done to these entities, it disgusts me. So I really want to enjoin people to behave and be respectful when they go into these places, because the people that were in these insane asylums or Waverly or the penitentiary or died on the battlefield at Gettysburg, they were tortured. They were bad things happened if they had tuberculosis or if they got blown apart by a cannonball or torn up by musket balls. So look, I mean, you can go to Gettysburg and walk around the battlefields, and if you sit and listen quietly, you will hear the cannons. Almost everyone that's ever been there has heard those cannons. But you don't have to be disrespectful to the soldiers that lost their lives there. And that's just that's thing one. The second thing I want to bring up is, as an applied mathematician, one of my passions is quantum mechanics. And if there's these theories now that are finally bringing some theory of consciousness into the quantum mechanical domain for various reasons, mostly because the theories are electromagnetic. But anyway, but first, don't get into the details of the math other than the following. You disturb a quantum system every time you observe or interact with it. I want you to hear the impact of what I'm saying. You change a system when you interact with it. Be respectful, because we don't want to mess up their domain by our presence and get entertained. Dave?
Yeah, that's probably the big one for me is, it isn't about entertainment for a lot of people, but other people, they just want the spookiness of it all. They want that thrill factor. They want that fear factor. I would consider myself, I like the thrill factor personally. I'm not an investigator. I just like going around and seeing stuff happen. I want to see things thrown at me. I want to be pinched. I want to be poked. I want, not prodded, poked. I mean, because
until it happens.
Well, I've been pinched and I've been poked, and it's kind of cool when it happens. Yeah, I got pinched right on my collarbone.
The crap out of me.
Got pinched right on my collarbone. But when we come back on Spaced Out Radio in hour 3 of the SOR Roundtable, we're going to talk about the Diablo Pass. Did a tree kill the hikers, or was it something more nefarious? On Spaced Out Radio. All right.
Dave, you're in my head. You're in my head. I was just editing a video. That's our next video that's coming out. I was editing right before the show.
Well, isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? You guys chat away. I'm going to run my doggies outside. I'll be right back. Bye.
All right.
And what's your theory about what happened?
A massive avalanche.
Yeah, that's the common one.
But wasn't there was no evidence of an avalanche, though?
No, it was the recent thing I read was proof of an avalanche. Now, look, this is not my field. I'm just telling you that but you can see an avalanche coming for a very, very long time before it actually rolls over you. And it looked like those people left wherever they were doing in a blind panic and did things like bite their tongue off and some other weird stuff, which happens all the time in crazy, crazy circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are as many theories about Deadlock Pass as there are people.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. It's a weird one.
It's a weird one.
Oh. Olav, it's going back to urban legends. Have you heard the one called Huggin' Molly?
No.
Oh my gosh. So I can't remember. She's a ghost down south. I want to say, I don't know if it was Alabama maybe, but anyways, supposedly some people think originally she was used to kind of scare kids to make sure they were home before it got dark. But what Molly does, she runs up to you, hugs you, and then that's it. Which I think is hilarious. Yeah.
Where's Molly?
Let me. I'll look it up for you. I'm not sure. I want to Alabama.
I hope it's Alabama. That's where I live.
Yeah.
There's a weird one here on the far side of the mountain. There's a road called Marsh Creek, and apparently even to this day, there's a spectral police car. And when people are driving in the middle of the night and they're drunk or on drugs or they're tired and driving erratically, the police car will stop them and pull them over. And after it pulls them over, the police car will sit behind them. This is like a 1970s, 1980s Crown Victoria. Lights are going or whatever. And then the police car, they're scared out of their minds. And the police car will pull out and drive past them and stop along the side of them, like the cop is going to talk to them. And they roll down the window or whatever. And then they look in the police car and the police car is empty. It's been cited numerous times. Yeah. It's a crazy, but we also have a spectral train out by Byron Hot Springs. And then we've got a whole bunch of the Bay Area is a very bizarre place. We have a sea monster too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a strange place here. We have a lot of weirdness.
Let's see. I think
I've been disappointed though. I've been using my goggles. I haven't seen anything in the sky yet, so I've been.
Oh, that stinks. All right, I think it should have just gone, to the chat.
It did. Oh, AO.com. I know that page well.
It's in Abbeville, Alabama.
I know where Abbeville is.
Abbeville's okay.
Check this out.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one, man.
We actually had a Bigfoot sighting on we have an island in the bay called Angel Island. And, it served a few purposes, but it was kind of like the Ellis Island of the West at one point. But people have reported seeing Bigfoot on this island. Nobody can figure out how Bigfoot would get out there.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because the bay has sharks, so you can't really swim.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe Bigfoot's
No,
figured out how to build a boat.
I don't know. I subscribe to the interdimensional ultra-terrestrial theory.
Oh, do you? Yeah. I don't know what to make
Sorry
of
I'm
Bigfoot,
late, guys.
honestly.
You know, a lot of times my audience makes fun of me when I go out at the top of the hours to take my dogs out for a piss. And literally, I just had to clean up a puddle of piss in my house. Yeah, on my basement floor. Literally.
That's having a dog.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that, and I don't give my dogs too much shit because they're older. They're 10 and 9 years old. So I got to be careful with that. But it's just kind of like, ugh, like I let you out all the time, and you got to go piss in my house. It's like, come on, give me a break. Where's Nell Carter when I need her? Give me a break.
14-year-old Chihuahua who has congestive heart failure, so we have to put it on a diuretic, and it pisses all over the place. What can you do?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's just frustrating.
Mine was on prednisone.
Yeah, exactly. Just
diuretic.
They've loved you for a long time. Put up with it.
Exactly. It's all you can do. They come racing down the stairs for me to take them out, and I look at my dog Doug, and I'm like, dude, what's this? And all of a sudden it's like, turn back, go upstairs. No, we're going outside, boys. And all they want to do is go outside and eat snow because they've already pissed in the house. It's like, come on. Come on. Oh, well.
I don't have snow, so.
Oh, our snow is melting. It's kind of funny. My front yard has no snow in it. My backyard still has about 7 inches of snow. It's kind of funny. But hold on, guys. We got 5 seconds here. Hold on.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight with the Paranormal Roundtable, and we are having loads of fun here on the show. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Gadroon. Gadroon is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Like I said, we're going into hour 3 of the SOR Roundtable. We do it near the end of each month here. We got a great panel tonight. Science Bob McGwier, Olav Phillips, Lynn Wallington, Asherah 7, and we are talking the Diablo Pass. Now, Lynn, we're going to start with you on this one because you are about to release a new video on your own YouTube channel about this theory. And here's the thing. Earlier this month, we had a bunch of scientists come out and say it was an earthquake that caused an avalanche that came down and came roaring down, and that's why these 9 hikers going into the backwoods for a little backcountry skiing died back in the 1950s in the Urals of Russia. However, just about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we had one of the world's top researchers in this field from DiatlabPass.com, Teodora Hadieska, who is just brilliant on this subject. She has talked to Russian scientists, Russian government officials about this, researchers all over the world. She has the greatest collection of research articles, books, discoveries of this topic, including photographs at DiatlabPass.com. But she came up with an incredible theory as well. She believes that a tree fell on one of the tents and actually killed 3 of the hikers, and the others panicked. And that's what set off the entire deadly adventure. Lynn, Was it a tree? Was it an avalanche or something more nefarious? What's your call?
I don't know. I think it's something mysterious. I don't think it was a tree. Um, there was evidence that they cut themselves out of their tents. The tents were cut from the inside, which is interesting, but there were no footprints around the tent other than their own, which is intriguing. I didn't hear anything about a tree on the tents. The avalanche theory, I can understand why people would think that. However, the one thing that makes me question that was the first two kids, because these were college kids, the first two kids that were found were basically in their underwear. And then the other 7 that were found further away were wearing the clothes of the 2 that were found initially. So if there was an avalanche, I don't think they'd have time to undress these kids and put their clothes on. They'd be running from the snow, trying to get out of the way. So I don't know. It's a big mystery.
It is a massive mystery. Asherah, let's bring you in on the Dyatlov Pass. What's your theory of what happened in the Urals back in the 1950s that's still a major mystery today?
I can't stick with one theory because I just, there's nothing that sticks well enough for me to stick with one theory. But what I find the most curious is the evidence of some material that was left over, radiation of the grounds and the trees and stuff that they tested. And to me, that's very curious because if you were to sustain, say, a giant UFO hovered over them and they got radiation, and that's why they cut themselves out of their tent, and next thing you know, they're acting crazy because they're already starting to go downhill from the high amounts of radiation. So then they start doing these weird behaviors and whatnot. Who knows? That's one of the more wild theories I have. But I definitely think that we need to pay attention to the radiation that was found on scene.
Olav, what do you think happened?
I don't know. I mean, I read books on it. Everybody has a different theory. I think the radiation is very interesting. I also think that it's very interesting, the signs of panic, the cutting themselves out of their tents, running for the tree line. Obviously they experienced something. I don't know that an avalanche was a good answer, because, I don't know, it didn't seem like the debris was spread around like an avalanche. But they obviously saw something, experienced something, because they utterly freaked out. And, a couple of them ran for the tree line. They were not wearing very much in the way of clothing, even though it was freezing up there. They're all scattered around. They're cutting themselves out of their tents, which is really weird. Like, that's just like a total panic response. So they obviously saw something or heard something or experienced something. But I have no idea what they did, what caused it. Drugs, maybe? I don't know.
Bob, there's so many theories out there, okay? And the theories keep pushing along, okay? Whether it was a tree, like Teddy said, or whether it was an avalanche like the scientists believe happened. I mean, we've heard Yeti. We've heard of the lost tribe up there that seems to live on their own, the Munsies, I believe, tribe, that seems to, be very secluded from civilization. And they, it's almost like a lost African tribe that hasn't seen humans before, or in South America, or in the islands of India. There's a protected island around there where they're still living in the Stone Age, pretty much. Okay. There's a lot of theories. We've heard UFOs. We've heard, direct energy weapons. What do you think happened?
So I don't know, like no one else knows. There's lots of theories. So as a scientist, the way I would approach it is, what do we have as available evidence? And then any theory that you posit has to explain the available evidence. If it doesn't explain the available evidence, you can then reject the theory. So, and I just don't know enough to know. I can tell you the one that appeals to me the most is the slab avalanche, because of the topography around the tents, and that it would come at a speed where they would have time to hear it coming, knife their way out of the back of their tents, run around in their underwear, trying to escape it and find a tree to climb up in a panic in the dark. And I just think it has a good chance of explaining it, but I don't know enough to say that it does explain it. I'm completely unfamiliar with the radiation, and avalanches don't cause radiation. So if that is true, it rejects the avalanche theory.
See, my big thing about an avalanche, and where I don't believe that, is avalanche does not leave smooth snow in its path. It leaves piles upon piles.
Well, now you're
high.
thinking of avalanche off of a slab avalanche is where something gives way underneath a wedge of snow that's a few feet deep, and it slides down the hill in a fairly smooth path. I mean, go look at the slab avalanche theory for this, and I don't think it's unreasonable. But again, I don't know, because I don't have time to investigate this, other than it seems interesting.
I'm not buying the avalanche. I don't think it was a Yeti. Okay. I don't think it was a Yeti, because there was no footprints. Unless they're covering that up, there was no footprints out of the ordinary from the hikers that were running around. Okay. Trying to escape something. I think something terrorized these kids. I mean, 2 of the bodies were found over a mile away from the campsite. What scared them to go running that far? All right. It wasn't the tribe, because there wasn't enough footprints around. So in my opinion, they could be eliminated from this. The problem that we have in this case, in my opinion, and anybody can answer to this, is the amount of evidence that hasn't been released. I mean, is this a Roswell type of situation where there was something that happened from the sky? Okay, I realize it's a bad theory, and I don't like calling aliens on this one as much as I love using the term "you got aliens." All right, but what scared these people so poorly? Now, an avalanche, as much as I may not think it's that, the sound of an avalanche and the roaring of the snow coming down the mountain definitely would do that. But for people running a mile away, that doesn't make sense to me. Because they would have checked on their camp. They would have been able to put their clothes on, or at least go back to their clothing to see if they could find it. And the way the tents were found, the tents were still above the snow. That's why I'm not buying the avalanche. But the sound could have scared them enough. Anybody? Jump on in.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, because one of the other things that was interesting about this case was that they had injuries. That's the word I'm looking for. Internal injuries, but there were no external injuries that coincided with the internal ones. The ones that were missing, the tongue, their ear, or not the ear, the eyes, they were found in water. And so one of the theories is, because it took so long for them to be found, I think it was 4 months, if I remember correctly, that basically those were eaten by animals. It wasn't necessarily a part of what happened to them. Is that true? I don't know. But I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the aliens theory. I don't really want to go there. However, I can't help but think of the Travis Walton story too, where he went over to the UFO and was thrown. Obviously he's going to be sustaining, anyone who's going to have something like that happen is going to sustain internal injuries. Did they have something like that happen to them? I don't know.
Yeah, but if you're thrown, you're going to have external indications of being thrown, especially in an environment like that. You're going to get frozen.
Right, but then how do they get the internal? But the internal injuries are weird though, because there was nothing externally.
Right.
So what happened?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, the whole thing is completely bizarre.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, obviously something something panicked them, because there's definitely panic behavior. But what induced the panic, it's
Right.
impossible to tell.
Yeah, and these were experienced hikers too. They weren't just your average, college kids
They'd
going
been
out on
there.
a hike.
No, they
Yeah.
were mountaineers, and they had been there before.
Yeah.
Science Bob.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Or Asherah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just thinking, I was just going to say, I think considering the fact that they were experienced hikers is a very important point to make, because a lot of people point to the fact that they had a flask of vodka with them. So what? They pass it around, they drink because they're hiking, it's not like they found evidence of any drugs. So vodka is one thing. An experienced hiker is never going to bring drugs on a hike with them, especially introduced to a fellow group with their instructor. So it's to me, it's just baffling to think that they are really pointing out this vodka thing recently. They're really wanting to point out this flask of vodka. I don't think that has anything to do with it. So the fact that they're experienced, I think, is the main point to remember. These aren't people that didn't know what they were doing. They weren't going out there having fun, partying. They were literally going out there with a mission. They had everything they needed, all their gear. They've done this, not Diablo Pass, but they've done other hikes many times before. So they knew what they were doing. And I'm sure they've come across some stuff that has concerned them in the past. So for them to freak out like they did, and for the state that their bodies were found in, I think that there's definitely something more supernatural. And for once, which I don't do this often, I am leaning hard on the alien theory.
As you should, because it's always aliens. It's always aliens. Science Bob, you're pretty quiet up there.
Well, I'm just trying to take it all in. And I just claim I don't have enough evidence on my own to refute any theory. So I chose the one that sounded kind of right to me. And clearly I don't have some evidence. But on vodka, look, people who claim vodka in a group of hikers in Russia is something to be worried about. Doesn't understand Russian culture, where they drink vodka for breakfast. They brush their teeth in vodka. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Using Ukrainian potatoes, by the way. Us Ukrainians got to be good for something over there. But no, I think we don't know what's happened. I really do believe we don't know what's happened, and that's what bugs me about it. Is the theories are still out there. I think if anybody's closer to it, it would be Teodora Hadiyiska from DiabloPass.com. And how do we get the answers to this? Is this going to be tied up as tight as Roswell for the next 100, 200 years? Anybody?
Well, you can't. It's been so long. Everything is obliterated. There's no, in archaeology, like when you go in to start excavating something, like at the cultural context, the context, the layout of the archaeology site has been disrupted. You can't figure out much of anything. And same with the crime scene. There's no way. It's been too long. We can guess all day, all night for the next 1,000 years, but all you have is photos or medical reports. You have no context. So I doubt you'll ever know what the answer is.
I mean, for Roswell, there's a supposed debris that can be put into a laboratory and tested to see if it's manufactured by anything that was ever on the Earth. And if it can't be, well, guess what? It's alien.
It's always aliens.
Yeah, that's more clearly defined.
Much more clearly defined. Yes,
it's always aliens, right. People. It is always aliens. We're going to turn to another subject here. So we got about 5.5 minutes to go before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour on Science Bob and Friends. Lynn Wallington Saturday show, Asherah, who's just here to look pretty, and Olav, who's here to look pretty from Paranoia Magazine. All right. I don't know if you guys have seen this, and Lynn, you kind of just accidentally brought up the name Travis Walton a few minutes ago. But there is big drama going on right now in the Travis Walton story. And
Mike is backing off.
And that is from Travis's former brother-in-law, Mike Rogers, who was the driver and the owner and the boss of the crew back in the 1970s in Snowflake, Arizona, when Travis had his incident with the UFO. Now, Mike Rogers has come out publicly and saying he is no longer supporting. I'm going to quote this. He says, "I, Michael H. Rogers, being of sound and rational mind, do hereby give notice that I am no longer to be considered a witness to Travis C. Walton's supposed abduction of November 5th, 1975. Now, all of this is apparently stemming from the fact that Mike feels a little ripped off right now for himself, mostly for himself, but the other members of the crew, as Travis has quietly, in his opinion, snuck around making a new Fire in the Sky type movie / documentary. And Mike believes he's owed some money over that. And that's what started an incredible verbal brawl between Mike and Travis Walton. So, do we need this drama in this story right now? Because Rogers is not saying the incident didn't happen. He's saying he's no longer supporting Travis Walton because of the current actions that are going on. Olav, let's start with you on this one.
I think it's ridiculous. It's the same old thing that always happens. In ufology, once there's money involved, it just goes haywire. I mean, every time that, people, it goes from an actual story of something that may have happened that was interesting with some evidence and, very interesting thing to read about in a study to now it's a war over money. It's just ridiculous, but it's what happens.
Asherah, let's get your opinion on this.
I mean, I think that you hit it right on the head. He's just mad, and he's finding a way to lash out. And, he doesn't have any say-so over what movie comes out. I mean, it's Travis Walton's book, so, and it's going to be his movie, so there's nothing he can say. So this is the only comeback he can come back with. This is the only revenge he can take. So why not just recant your ability to be a witness? Like you said, he's not saying it didn't happen. He's just saying he doesn't want to be a witness to it anymore.
Well, I mean, how hard is it? Because, and I feel for these guys, and I think you bring up a great point, Asherah. Travis has got all the press because it happened to him. Travis is the one who gets invited to the conferences. Travis is the one who's getting paid from these conferences. Travis is the one who everybody wants to do the documentary with. It's much like a major band that splits up. There's always one ego that gets involved and thinks they're bigger than what they are. And maybe that is the case. I'm not defending Mike Rogers here at all, and I'm certainly not trying to disparage Travis Walton. But I mean, obviously the effects of what happened are still very fresh, almost 50 years later or 45 years later from this event. But I mean, should it be that all of a sudden after 45 years that these guys are starting to throw each other under the bus? Or is it deeper than that and something we just don't know?
I mean, I'm sure it's probably deeper than everybody knows. I'm sure they still communicate. They still talk. So I'm sure there's some underlying, maybe some bad blood, which may be why Travis Walton hasn't brought them into the limelight. I'm not sure, but I know that there's got to be more to the story than what we're witnessing, and we're just seeing the reaction from it.
Well, here's a line as we get ready to go to break here, and then Lynn and Bob will get your opinions on this. This is a line from Mike Rogers' own Facebook page, and Mike, once again, was the driver of the truck and the head of the crew in the Fire of the Sky incident. Mike says, "Travis has always been my friend up until recently. He tried to keep a new remake of the movie a secret from me. It pissed me off so bad, I began to doubt his honesty, and it all went from there." That's where the trouble starts. It's once again about money, once again about opportunity, and Is it greed, or is it just, hey, man, be fair? That's what we'll discuss when we come back on Spaced Out Radio. Is we got another 30 minutes of the SOR Roundtable. We got a great panel tonight of Asherah 7, Lynn Wallington, Science Bob McGwier, and from Paranoia Magazine, Mr. Olav Phillips. Yes, we are going to continue with the Fire in the Sky talk. We got this great group for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to take the roundtable to the top of the hour, as we always do. We're having fun. I hope you're having fun tuning on in. This is Spaced Out Radio. We'll be right back. All right, we're clear.
So is this new movie they're talking about the Travis documentary, or is it a remake of Fire in the Sky?
I don't know.
The Travis documentary came out a while ago, and a lot of the guys are in it.
Yeah, where'd Science Bob go? Did he hang up?
Know.
Or did he just turn his camera off?
No,
he's still there.
He's still there, yeah.
He's still there. I don't know.
Well,
we'll talk about it.
Okay. Let's see if I can find anything.
Yeah. Kind of cool.
It's all about the money. All about the money.
Asherah, how are you enjoying your first roundtable?
I was a little kerfuzzled at first. I came in. I was rushing to get in here and sat down. I had left my mic. I just moved. I left my mic at my other house. I had to rush back here, and then I come to find out my mic cord is not working right. It's been crazy, but I've had a good time. So.
Well, good, because we like you around here. We like you around here.
All right. I'm glad.
Hey, Lynn, how close are you to doing some training?
Very close. I'm on my new computer right now, actually.
Oh, you got it already? Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I downloaded OBS. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
Okay. I will need you to download Spreaker as well. So are you free tomorrow, or are you busy tomorrow night?
Yeah. No, I can do it. The only thing I have to do is pick up my daughter at work. But other than that, I'm free.
Okay. So tomorrow night, we'll meet up, and I'll walk you through Spreaker and everything. So we got to pick your theme song. Oh, yeah, we did pick out your theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Women Rule the World. Women Rule the World.
It's a good one.
Here, for people who haven't heard it yet. You guys won't be able to hear it. We'll play Lynn's new theme song for Saturday night.
Cool. When does that start?
As soon as we can get her up and running and she's comfortable, then we'll get it going. Okay, so let's play this here. Hold on. Well, we'll wait until this commercial's over. We'll just play a little bit of it. We'll just play a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little tease. All right. This is Lynn's new theme song.
Wow.
Isn't it good? Did you love it?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys hear it?
No.
No. Didn't think so.
It's very subtle.
The constant in my friendship with Dave is he is technologically challenged.
Yes, I am, Bob. Oh, I'm on the wrong YouTube channel right now. Like, why won't it stop? Why won't it stop playing? I'm on the wrong YouTube channel. There we go. Yeah, so that's going to be Lynn's new theme song. And Lynn, I will also need a photo and a bio for the website.
Okay.
Because we're redoing our website, and our new website's probably going to launch in 2 to 3 weeks. And so that way we have you all set up there, and
okay.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It'll be awesome.
I'm excited.
You should be. Are you bringing your co-host along or what?
She will do some. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. She's so funny. She's like, I don't know what I, will contribute, but I'll come.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those what the fuck type shows. But for our audience though, we are getting Lynn used to doing the radio podcast on Saturdays, so cut her breaks, make sure that she is that you show her the love. We are going to go we're going to start. Are we going to do everything at once, or do you want to just start on the podcast side?
I don't know. Let's try to figure that out tomorrow. I could probably go either way, but
all right.
We'll see
if you want to do both, you can do both because I know our audience would love it. But the big thing is for all of you out there, help her out. Be nice in the chat rooms.
Please be nice.
If she misses a question, don't go nuts like you go on me. What the hell? Why is there no question? Why are you asking my question? They'll be awesome. They'll be awesome. Okay.
I'm sure they will.
Okay, guys, we got like 10 seconds here. 10 seconds. Hi, Bob.
What's up?
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for enjoying the time with us because we love being here with you. And this is kind of what we do on a nightly basis, so let's just run with it. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. Also, want to remind you can find all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Or you can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, along with our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. And I love the word plethora, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. We continue on with the Roundtable tonight. We have Science Bob McGwier, Asherah 7, Lynn Wallington, and Olav Phillips for another 30 minutes here on the show. And we are talking about this new spat in the Fire in the Sky story, where the owner of the logging company, the head of the crew, Mike Rogers, has now denounced Travis Walton. Not saying that the incident didn't happen, but as we said right before the break, that maybe, just maybe, this has all to do with money. Because in the end, it all comes down to money. Olav, I want to get your opinion here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What do you think's happening?
Is it all about money? I think it's all about money. I mean, we've seen it many, many times in ufology and the Fortean in general. Once there's money involved, it all goes haywire. You see it a lot with people who write books, and they write a book and, it's interesting and probably really did happen, but then they're, it's popular, they're under pressure, so they write another book, and then over time, the story grows and grows and grows, and then you end up, taking pictures from Iron Sky and distributing, saying that that's actually a Nazi moon base. It's this thing. This is just what happens with people. That once there's money involved, it all goes pear-shaped. And I think that it's bad for ufology. Especially to have public, spats. But it's just human nature.
Well, here's another quote from Mike Rogers on his Facebook, basically just saying this: a very big argument, not just a mere misunderstanding. Perhaps you should try to get Big T, which he calls Travis, to reason. Do you know why I call him Big T? Because Travis is so overly egotistical, he actually likes me calling him that. Unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, this almost sounds childish in a way. It really does.
It is.
It
is, though. It is, but I mean, he's the one that had it happen to him.
Yeah.
he's the one that gets all the invitations and everything. I mean, it's obviously, any human being. I mean, I try to be better than this, but we're all human. Over time, it kind of dilutes you and gives you a big ego.
Yeah, but not only that, I know Travis, and he's one of the most humble people you'll ever meet. Like, he does not have a
Super
big
nice
ego.
guy. Super nice
When
guy.
I met him,
Yeah.
when I met him, he was an amazingly nice guy. I have to be honest. I had him sign the book, and I was like a fanboy. I mean, no, wonderful guy. I chit chatted with him. It was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, he's great.
So one of the people who was on that crew, Stephen Pierce, has said on Mike Rogers' Facebook page, he goes, "F, dude, you didn't even mention our names, just Dave Miller. You're trying to be like Travis now, or what? Laughing my ass off." I mean, let's face it. Like we said right before the break, this is a great soap opera. 45 years of a soap opera, but Travis is the face of the franchise. And sometimes people don't like others being the face of the franchise, no matter what. However, has Travis, Bob, done enough to talk about the other people who were there and the effects that everything had on them as well?
Every time I've seen him talk, every time I've seen him have a video, he speaks about the things that happened to the other people that he's aware of. But the incident that counts is he got hammered by an object that took him inside. And the thing that made his case so different is they kept him for 5 days. That's the big deal. He was gone for 5 days and deposited naked on the side of a road. And his brother-in-law, I think, had to go and pick him up. Anyway, but the story happened to Travis. The others got caught up in it, and because they were with him and then deserted him and came back and then called the police, and they had to put up with an interrogation that lasted 5 days and then be accused of being in a hoax for years. But the stuff happened to Travis. He did not happen to them. They happened to be there with him. And I just, I'm sorry this happens to him, and friends fall out with each other, and money is the root of all evil, and it certainly is in this case.
Well, let's hear the other side, Bob, because on Travis Walton's Facebook page, this is juicy, by the way, real juicy. He said, he said, "Thought I would survey my friends. I received a demand to pay $2,000 by 5 p.m. Friday, March 19th, plus $500 per month until the sender said it's enough. If I didn't submit to the demand, the sender would totally destroy my supposedly spotless reputation. I replied that claiming the money was owed did not make this any less the federal felony of blackmail. He replied that I had zero chance of getting a conviction. Destruction, damage to many others has been enormous. Question, should I have paid up?" Bob.
Never.
No, you never pay a blackmailer or an extorter. You never do it.
That's just nuts.
Never, ever.
Nuts. So, I mean, Lynn, you know Travis personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is this out of the ordinary?
Yeah, I think it absolutely has to do with. So the documentary Travis came out several years back, which is great. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. And I was just looking over the break, and it looks like maybe there is a remake of Fire in the Sky coming out. But prior to this, when Travis was just doing, like the UFO conference circuit, if we want to call it that, they don't get paid much to do that. And at that point in time, the other guys really didn't want anything to do with being in the public about this. They were shying away from it. However, now all of a sudden that there's movies coming out and there's more money that's going to be made, now all of a sudden they're like, whoa, what about us? Well, as Bob said, it didn't happen to them. Yeah, their story is interesting too. They were murder suspects. It was crazy, but Travis was the one that was abducted for 5 days. It's his story. I'm sorry.
Well, shouldn't to play devil's advocate with you, Lynn, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. But should there not be a cut for the other guys involved?
If they
Because
were in the movie, yeah, there should be. But I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen I've seen Travis, and some of the guys were in it. Some of the guys, I think maybe one of them, I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, didn't want to be in the documentary. But a couple of them were. And I mean, they were in it for a small portion of it. But yeah, I think if he's making money off of it, they might be owed something. Depends on what the contract said.
Well, another post here by Travis. I have repeatedly reached out to him pleading, let me help you. There's no way to show him his imagined wrongs have not happened because he has refused dozens of requests to meet and resolve this baseless grudge. And as Mike Rogers stated, up until recently, they were good friends. So this is all brand new over the last couple of weeks. Oh, the drama in UFO world. The drama in UFO world. Asherah, you get the final comment on this one.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better than, Bob and Lynn and everybody else. I think that, it is Travis Walton's story. He's the one who lived through it. And not only the fact that he was the one who lived through it, but he's also the one who's done all the footwork to get his story out there. So while, the other gentleman might be, it's very small, slight cut, but he's not excluding them. He never left them out of the situation. He never left them out of the story. They were friends up until recently, so clearly they were on good terms. So he was never neglecting them as his friends. I just assumed that the greed took over, and they saw this new movie, this remake coming out, and now they see that it's probably going to be bigger than what they assumed, and they probably want a piece. Or maybe there's something, behind closed doors that happened that, this erupted into this. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the breakup of Guns N' Roses back in the 1990s. When Slash and Duff left the band, they were now playing at smaller venues that maybe held 1,000, 2,000, maybe 5,000 people. Whereas Axl Rose, even with all of the replacements, was still playing stadiums and arenas packed with 15, 18, 20,000 plus people. And yet, this is the exact same thing. Travis, as Bob said, is the star of the show. He's the headliner. He's going to get the people. He's going to get the conferences. He's going to get the money from the movies, the documentaries. The rest of the guys are like the band that broke up. You don't get as much. Sure, you were involved. People still want to talk to you. People still want your word. But you know what? It's not as much as the main guy. And that's where ego gets involved. All right, we're going to turn the corner here as we have about 9.5 minutes left in tonight's show of the SOR Roundtable. Let's get personal here for a second. Real personal. We all have stories that we cannot explain. We all have those instances of questioning our own reality when it comes to the paranormal, supernatural, cryptids. What is something that you have not experienced yet that before you say goodbye to planet Earth and you breathe your final breath that you want to experience? Lynn, we're going to start with you on this one.
Oh my gosh, I was just trying to think of that. So a paranormal event that I haven't experienced. Okay.
Could be anything. I'll even let you say Dogman. It doesn't matter what it is.
No. Oh my goodness. Okay, you may not like this answer because we were just talking about this, but I wouldn't mind going someplace like Waverly Hills. I know, but it's fascinating, I'm sorry. I'm maybe that. I mean, I've had a lot of the other ones, so I'm trying to think of something that hasn't happened.
Why there? Define it for me.
Well, okay, so, my degree's in psych. I used to work as a therapist, so Waverly Hills kind of holds a special interest for me.
See, that
So you've got
that
psychology and
okay.
ghosts.
I'll give you that. That makes sense to me. Okay, as much as I wanted to vomit on hearing Waverly Hills again and again and again, I will give you a free pass on that one.
Okay.
Because of your educational background. Olav Q. Phillips, the Q standing for quick. What do you want to experience, Olav?
I would full body apparition. I've seen parts of bodies, but I've never seen a full body apparition.
Why do you want that?
Well, I mean, I saw like an arm materialize in midair. I know it sounds insane, but it's true. I've seen I've had the oogie feelings. I've had the sounds, the noises, all that stuff. Heard people screaming when I went to the Custer battlefield, but never seen a full, honest to God, full body apparition. My father did, but I have not. I've never seen like an actual person standing in front of me, and you're looking at them going, "You're a ghost." I've seen everything else, but I've never seen that, and I do want to see that.
Science Bob.
I want to take a ride awake. I want to be asked inside and taken on a ride. And if I got my pick, I'd say I want to go land on Phobos and Deimos and go down and take a look at the Perseverance rover and then come back.
I don't blame you.
As a monolith, right?
Because there's a good chance, Science Bob, that I'm going with you after our latest encounter.
Given our recent experience, I think you might be right.
Yep. Science Bob and I got taken by aliens. About 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, so I don't have any memory of it, but I have evidence.
Explain your evidence to people.
Okay, so Dave called me and says, I had a weird dream. It was really, really weird, completely lucid. And we were together and we had been taken. And I went, well, I don't have any memory of that, but I am tired. I had a long night. So I had recently bought a Fitbit Versa 3, which tracks everything on your body. And I looked it up on my phone and looked at my statistics, and I had been awake and moving around for an hour and a half I have no memory of.
Now, the interesting part about that is, I believe your wife, your beautiful wife, Sharon, actually heard something walking in your house a few times in the middle of the night, went to check it out.
She is one tough. She's a sweet, very high-pitched voice. You'd never get it, but she's one tough lady. She got up and went down to confront them without waking me up. And so I'm just telling and I've seen stuff outside my windows, in front of my cameras. Just crap is happening.
Strange.
Thank you, Dave.
Oh, yeah. You always blame me for everything. You and my buddy Mark always blame me for everything strange. Asherah 7, how about you?
I've experienced a variety of different beings. But I would like to experience a flying cryptid of some sort, like Mothman or Jersey Devil or something like that. Even Chupacabra. Yeah, not the Texas Chupacabra, but the Mexico Chupacabra, the little gremlin-like creature. So something different, something weird, something unique. So yeah, I would like to experience something, or even a dragon. You see like all these fake YouTube videos, if they were a cryptid, I would want to experience one.
That's interesting. I think for me, it's a couple of things. As much as I love Bigfoot and UFOs, I would love to see something move. Okay, like out of all the paranormal experiences that I've had, I've never seen the fridge door open or a glass move across a table, or, a spirit doing my laundry for me and then going yuck when it gets to my underwear, or something along those lines. That's what I want to see. I think that would be absolutely cool. But like Bob, I want to go for my flight, but I need to do it awake. But I don't think that one's happening. My thing that I would love to see is another Bigfoot. I would love to see another Sasquatch and get real up close and personal with it. And when I'm saying like I want to be within 20, 30 feet. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I wanted to...
I saw one, but it was at distance. I saw one, but I saw it far away. I want to see it up close too.
I want to see this thing, and I want to make eye contact with it, and I want to talk to it, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to say, but I just want to go up to it and say,
I want to see if they stink. That's how close I want to be.
I want to hand it a bag of, or a jar of peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I honestly
sure is.
Open it for him.
No, they got opposable thumbs. They can open it themselves.
Hey, Mr. Bigfoot, here's a Twinkie.
Either way, I want to do something. That's the encounter I'm going for this year. I'm putting it out to the universe that I want that encounter to happen. And by God, I'm going to give it a good darn old Canadian effort on that and go get cold, because we only have 2 seasons where I live. Cold season and mosquito season. And mosquito season is literally around the corner. Try being like 85 degrees Fahrenheit up here, or, you know, that's about 34 degrees Celsius, and having to wear a long sleeve shirt and pants because otherwise you will die from your blood being sucked out of you. I literally am not looking forward to the day when I open my door, and as I go to open my door, I look out the window and literally see a wall of mosquitoes saying, "Come on in, fat boy. Come to our side," because that's literally what happens. Literally what happens up here. Oh yeah. Not looking forward to it. Science Bob, I want to say a big...
You should try going. You should have been on the trips with me to the jungles of South America. I'll give you some freaking mosquitoes.
Nope. I'm staying away. I got enough mosquitoes up here. And hopefully the bats and the swallows return, because we've had a real shortage of bats for 3 years up here since the forest fire. So hopefully the bats will be returning, and they could clean some of that up. That would be very nice. I want to say thank you so much, Science Bob, Asherah 7, Lynn Wallington, and the great
Olav Q. Phillips.
Great Olav Q. Phillips of Paranoia Magazine. You guys were absolutely great on coming on the Roundtable. It was a lot of fun. And on behalf of our audience here on Spaced Out Radio, I want to say this was one of the great ones that we've done in a long time. Very educated, very understanding, very well played. Thank you for coming on the SOR Roundtable. We'll do it all again next month. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone taking in the show in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, Spreaker, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and all the Starkers and Starcats hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Great job, people. Great job tonight.
Fun.
That was a
Well, how
lot
many
of
people
fun.
know? How many people know that Bumblefoot played with Guns N' Roses?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a great guitarist.
Oh, he's fucking awesome. I just sent him a big spaced out radio package.
Good.
I'm waiting for him to he hasn't responded yet, so I don't know if he got it. But yeah, I sent him a big package. Big package.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I made up and I forgot to get pictures of it. Be damned, but I forgot to get pictures of it. But Corin's the booking guy. His son Ben is really, really talented as an artist. And we had him create one of a kind t-shirts, logos. One of Bumblefoot. Okay, so if you look on my YouTube screen, you see the Bumblefoot picture of the fire. All right, of him playing guitar in the fire. By the way, that guitar he's playing there on the YouTube channel, that's the guitar that's waiting to come on my wall. That's the one. That's the one that will eventually be in my studio. He will retire that guitar for me. And that's his Paradise City guitar. Anyways, literally on a different sense, we took the basis of that photo and we built a character called Bumble Squatch and Bumbalian. So you have and we did it in cartoon figure where you have, if you look at that picture below, we did the Bumbalian in like ice colored flames with a gray alien with Bumblefoot's hair and goatee and mustache with his guitar hammering away on his guitar. And we did the exact same thing with the Bumble Squatch, and we put it in a logo in the shape of a guitar pick. So he's the only ones who have that, and so I sent him a little note and I said, hey man, like we did this for you and thank you for everything you do with the show and if you want those designs for your own website, you can have them. Because I don't want to make a dime off of him. I really don't. I mean, I'll make money other ways, but off of him after everything he's done to support us and especially through his music, I just won't take advantage of that. That's for sure. So they're one of a kinds, and if he needs more, we could make more. I'd love to see him put them on his website and maybe, let him have some fun with his fans on making them. So I think that would be cool. And who knows? He may do that. He may ask me for the prints and we'll send him over the prints on it. But it's awesome. It really is awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love his hot sauces.
I don't have any.
Oh, that's a mistake.
I got against they weren't available in Canada.
Get out of here.
No, serious.
Well, I got the atomic bomb, and that stuff is awesome.
I had some atomic bomb or da bomb. I had da bomb.
Yeah, it's full of good stuff. Mm-hmm. Ghost peppers and habaneros.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, that is good stuff. That is very, very good stuff. Oh, Olav, you got to get the California out of you, man.
I'm not from California.
Well, you're acting like it.
All right. Well, I gotta go, guys. It was wonderful being on the.
Hey, thank you.
Have a good night.
Right. Olav, it was great. It was great being with you again, bud.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed talking to you. All right, guys.
All right, Olav, take care, man. Oh yeah, that's a good show. Olav Q. Phillips. Right there. Olav Q. Phillips. All right. That's why I should download the show here, because I still got to edit it.
Lynn, I'm glad you're doing Saturday nights. It's been a big hole, and you're going to do well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to do it. It'll be fun.
Great. That's great.
Oh, thank you.
She's gonna do amazing. It kind of
I
came.
hope so.
Kind of came out of nowhere because all of a sudden you were talking to me about starting a podcast up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, well I got a hole here, and I'm a fan of Lynn Wellington's work. Well, hold on. I think I'm getting a mathematical equation here. There, where 2 + 2 is equaling 4, and that's kind of how it all equaled out.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And with the upgrades, Dave has planned to have video with the guest and the host simultaneously. This channel is going to double in size almost overnight because of the draw of video.
Yeah,
I think so. I don't know if it'll double, but I think we'll get at least.
Oh, I believe it with all my heart, Dave, because others who have gone from podcasting to video and are anywhere near as talented as you are, it's taken off for them.
Well, hopefully it works. We're working on it. I'll be working on that this weekend, and hopefully we're able to make it happen. That would be really nice. Be really nice. But Lynn's gonna do awesome. Awesome.
I hope so. I have a couple of good guests that I've talked to who are going to be willing to do it. Yep, we got a vampire witch coming on.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
One thing we should let our audience know is until Lynn gets really used to everything, is her segment is only going to be a 2-hour show, and we're cutting out the commercials. What is the name of her podcast? We're going to call it Spaced Out Saturdays, or whatever she wants to call it. I suck at naming things.
No, that's fine. That works for me.
Spaced Out Saturdays. And I don't know what if you have you figured out a time when you're going to go on?
I think the same time, midnight my time. So what is that, 9 p.m. your time?
Yeah. So we'll keep it the same, but it's only going to be for 2 hours instead of 3, and it's going to be more focused on our Spreaker side as well as our YouTube side. So that way, for those of you who are looking for something to do on Saturday night because you don't have plans, Lynn's a great person to hang out with, and you'll have fun. Where did Asherah 7 go?
I don't know.
Is she still? Well, looks like she's still here, right?
She's still here. Oh, she's on mute. She's muted. I'm wondering if, where'd she go?
Maybe she had to take a break.
Maybe
she's just being mysterious.
She is mysterious. Yes. She is mysterious.
I love it.
She's so mysterious, people. She's just so mysterious. I don't know why that monkey thing really bugs me and irks me.
Does it?
Oh, drives me nuts. I watched the guy.
It's crap. And look, you, Lynn, having had training as a zoologist, know full well if it were a bunch of monkeys, we'd have all the evidence we need because fur, scat, other thing has all the DNA you ever need in it to figure out what these things are related to.
Right.
It's just crap.
I mean, but I also can't say that it could be some sort of creature that's evolved, just, like we did, really. So I don't know. I don't know.
It's really hard to see how any physical creature doesn't leave behind physical evidence that any reasonable scientist could test for what it is. If Bigfoot is real, it's something weird.
Yeah. But then again, we do find new species every year, and some of them are huge.
Yeah.
So, it's possible. But I mean, I agree. I think there is a weird aspect to it.
I don't mean to be rude, but everything that I've seen in new species that have been found recently are like frogs and insects and fish, not
or gigantic things that live in the ocean.
Exactly. I like when's the last time was it the silverback gorilla or was it the panda bear the last time we saw something massive found in the forest? I and I'm not asking that to be rude. Like I honestly don't know. or was it the okapi? Because that's a beautiful animal.
Yep.
I will look it up. Let's find out.
You know,
Because I
There you
could say
go.
I am not sure.
did you see the story recently that they're expecting South America to have a real problem with hippopotamuses because of Pablo Escobar's personal private zoo? He brought in 3 or 4 hippos, 1 male and 2 or 3 females, and they've done nothing but breed. And now they're when they had the shootout that killed Escobar back in the day, they didn't know what to do with the hippopotamuses, so they just said, well, let them. They're not used. They thought, well, let them just fend for themselves. Well, the problem is they've survived. There's over 300 hippopotamuses now living in the Amazon River that are just
Wow.
absolutely smoking the ecosystem there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
My favorite ecosystem stories are starlings in the United States, rabbits in Australia. I mean, you just can't do this crap. Or these ridiculous fish that are all over the United States are
carp.
just horrible. They wipe out the ecosystems. It's terrible.
Yeah, you got a problem
Yeah.
with the carp and the snakeheads.
We do indeed.
Both of
Yeah.
those. That's
Okay, I found something. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead with if you still want to talk about
No,
the fish.
no,
yeah.
go for it.
All right. So this says in 2017, researchers announced that they found a new species of orangutan.
Wow. Yes, I saw that.
Oh, that's cool.
There you go. Yeah. See, so it's possible.
But how'd you love the game camera capture of the silverback gorilla not in Africa?
Oh, really? I didn't hear about that. Where was it?
Yes, I forgot the details, but it wasn't in Africa.
Wow.
But I mean, it was clearly a silverback gorilla walking away from a game camera.
Wow, that's crazy.
Bob, I hate to break your heart, but that was me walking without a shirt on.
Well, you've muscled up there, Dave.
Well, hey, I'm a catch, man. I'm a catch.
We could use you for bait for something.
No, no, that asshole friend of mine, Mark, he keeps telling me that when we go out in the bush, if we get chased by a grizzly bear, he's going to shoot me in the leg. I said, why are you going to do that? He goes, well, I got to get away. And he goes, you may be slightly faster than me.
Well, that's not very nice.
Oh, hey, each their own in the forest, right? You know? I said, that's it. I'm just going to trip you.
There you go. I was going to say, you need to have a backup plan.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm going to trip him.
I have fun, but I have Zoom meetings in the morning. I'll see you guys soon, I hope.
You go, Science Bob. You go. Thank you so much for being awesome tonight, man.
It was a lot of fun to be with you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Science Bob. Science Bob,
Good night.
everybody. Science effing Bob.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Smart guy. Hey, Ihez, how you doing?
Yeah, yes.
Uh-huh.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, look who it is. It's Asherah 7.
It's me.
Are you still having
I had
fun
to take
with
my
us?
dogs out because, yeah, of course. I just had to take my dogs out. She was starting to get really mad at me because she kept staring at me, and then she started giving me puppy dog eyes.
Uh-oh.
So I caved. I took her out.
Yep. Yep.
Mm.
I'm going to spend all night washing floors now.
Ugh. I know my oldest dog at this point is wearing diapers. Poor guy.
Oh.
I know.
I hate that.
Yeah, that was my dog that wanted to go out. My old girl. She's 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you. If there is a God, which I do believe, and there is, after you go through your everything, and if I get an opportunity to ask God anything besides aliens and Bigfoot, I am seriously going to ask why the hell did you rip us off where a dog's average life is like 9 to 10 years? Why did you rip us off? That sucks. Give me 20 years. Give me 25 years.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I'd be good with that.
My little one's evil enough. She'll probably live that long.
Everything's evil around you.
You're
evil, Lynn.
True. She's a little terror, though.
So, Lynn, something else we need to do is I'm going to send you my script that I use for the show, but I'm only use it as a template to write your own, put your own words, your own spin on everything. Okay.
Okay.
So it's just a little bit of a template for the show, and we got to make sure that everything's comfortable for you, and just remind me of that tomorrow night when we talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I got to get you access. Hey, Fapster. What are you saying? Dave started using diapers when he turned 75 10 years ago. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Says the guy who's trying to hustle his grandmother onto me in Vegas. His 96-year-old Grandma Rose. Oh, insane.
Maybe she's a feisty one. You never know.
Not my type.
No.
Well,
it's worth a shot, I guess.
Way it goes sometimes.
Hey, you never know.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and sometimes it's 2:00, and well. Oh, come on. We've all been there. We've all been there. We've all taken one for the team at one point or another. Don't even deny it, people. Don't even deny it. If you deny it, you're lying.
I haven't heard any denials. I've just heard silence.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm not going there. I'm not going there." It's a family-oriented show. At some point, Nikki from Puget Sound is going to come up to me and say, "Dave, you can't be doing that. What are you doing, man? Come on." She's like my consciousness. She's totally like my consciousness.
Oh.
Yes, I love her.
That's awesome.
I'm editing. What are you guys doing?
Me?
Well, you're
talking to the chat.
You're sitting there like this.
I know. I'm sitting there trying to stay awake.
Well, go to bed.
I think I'm going to. It's after 3.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
All right.
I was actually headed there myself too. It was good meeting you, Lynn.
Yeah, you too. It was great. Awesome. So. All right. And
all right,
Dave,
everyone. I will.
Lovely as always.
I'll talk to you tomorrow night, Lynn.
Okay.
And if I get it, I've been busy lately. Like I haven't even returned a phone call that I was supposed to return yesterday at 2:00. So if you don't hear from me by just after your dinner time, well, you're 3 hours ahead. So let's say just after dinner time, just send me a quick message on Facebook, and I'll set up a time with you. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
All right. Have a good night.
Take care.
Right,
Asherah, thank you so much for being awesome and joining us for the first time on the Roundtable. You were great. You really were.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been up since 6 a.m. and I'm almost hitting 24 hours awake now. So I'm probably going to bed myself.
Girl, get to bed. Get to bed. You did well.
I'm going to head there. You have a good night.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was a great roundtable tonight. It really was. And then there was just me. Just like that. It's just me. Oh, hey, Grandma Rose. How are you? We love you and we miss you. By the way, your grandson has been very mean to me in the chat room recently. Yep. Called me fat. He said that my beard made me look like an old man. He said that I wear diapers. Yes. Horrible, horrible insults, Grandma Rose. Come on, give him a punch or a kick to the shins for me if you don't mind. Grab your cane and swat him across the ass. I would appreciate that. Love you, Grandma Rose. We miss you. Mm-hmm. We do. We do. We do. Mm-hmm. Everybody takes a puck to the nuts. That's true. Can't even deny that, Brett Lewis. It happens. There's no slang on that one. That is very true. It does happen. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good. Wow. According to the Wall Street Journal on Twitter, shipping experts warned a resumption of traffic through the Suez Canal could still be days, if not weeks away, getting that barge free. Apparently, I read a statistic today that companies that use the Suez Canal are combined losing $400 million a day. $400 million a day combined because of this crisis. No problem, Fabster. Love you, Grandma Rose. By the way, give him another shot for us if you don't mind. Hey, Grandma Rose, do me a favor. Can you measure his head? Because we want to know whether or not he could get through a doorway. You know what I'm surprised about the ship? Why they haven't brought another ship close by to take some of the containers off of that ship to lighten the load, that maybe it would loosen everything up a little bit. What's the barge name? And look at the tugboat names. Let me see here. Oh, what's the boat's name? Is it Evergreen or something like that? I think it's Evergreen. There's a great picture in the Wall Street Journal, if you go to their website, WSJ.com, of this big tractor, this excavator, digging holes with the ship. And it's a big excavator, and it just looks puny next to this massive ship. Looks puny. But yeah, I mean, that thing here, I mean, I'm surprised they don't have multiple tractors in there, and they only got one. Maybe because they don't want to put too much weight along the shoreline to have those tractors sink and cause more mud to go underneath. I don't know. I don't know. Good night, Grandmaster. Thanks for joining us, man. And now we down to 98. Oh, I did not know that. I did not know that, Crow Creek. Move that. Come on. Remove those. Seriously, why aren't you being removed? There we go. Oh, they are. Why am I still wearing headphones? The Philip Blair. The Philip Blair is here, everyone. There we go. Take those off. That works. Let's get this out of my face. Dude. Hey, gorgeous Larry, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. If we've got that other. All right, we are downloading. There we go, people. We are downloading. Larry, I'm glad you're starting to feel a little bit better, buddy. That means a lot. It really does. And I like how you give us daily updates on that, man. Still sending you love and prayers, man. Still sending you love and prayers. Oh, the downloading is continuing. The downloading is continuing. I'm actually quite hungry right now, but I don't want to eat. Really don't want to eat. Brett Lewis, I don't know how to play guitar. You know that, man. I'm a poser. I'll eat breakfast in the morning. I got enough in reserves here to make things happen, man. I'm okay with it. And what does my friend Brad in Texas want here? Excuse me. I apologize for yawning. Why is Satan trending in Canada? Let's find out. Don't know. All right. That's done. That's done. There, upload. I can only hope, Fapster. Paul, I work in the finance industry. Ghost trains. I think it has something to do with the energy of the tracks, man. I really do. Good night, Nikki. Much love. I think it has something to do with the tracks. I'll stop. All right. Hi, Princess Denali. Hey, that one's done. That one's done. It's done. Did you hear the cute story? I don't know about you guys, but I found this kind of emotional. You know, I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you're like me. You really love Steve Irwin, you know, the crocodile hunter, and from Australia who died tragically. Like, what was it, about 15, 16 years ago? You know, when the stingray accidentally stung him and pierced his heart. Horrible, horrible death. But his daughter, Bindi, just gave birth to a baby girl today, her and her husband. She's 22, 21, 22. And they married a year ago, and they just had their first child. You know, for all I was thinking about today, and I don't know why I was thinking about it, I thought, man, out of anybody who deserved to see their grandchild being born, it was Steve Irwin. Totally Steve Irwin. You know? I would love to, you know, I don't know. That just kind of bugged me today. Like, I was just like, damn, like he should have been able to see his grandchild. Now, a lot of people will say, well, maybe he helped send her the baby and all this kind of stuff. If you're religious or you have strong faith and belief, you might want to believe that, which is very, very cool. Okay. However, I'm just kind of thinking here, you know, maybe I'm thinking aloud. I just felt bad that he wasn't there. You know, I felt bad that he wasn't there. because I mean the guy just seemed like he didn't get enough time to be a father to his two kids, especially his youngest. What's his name? Robert. It just didn't seem to get enough time with his kids, and I don't know. Just felt bad. Just felt really, really bad, and I just thought it would have been cool for somebody like him to be able to see his grandchild being born. Night, Captain Shirky Poo. I would love to go to their zoo. Totally, Paul Holland. You get it. You get it. That's just my opinion. All right, everyone, I want you to go have a wonderful weekend if you don't mind, because I am going to get out of here. I do have to work tomorrow for a short day, and I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little tired, and I know tomorrow's going to be a little bit busy. So, could you do me a favor? Join us on Monday night. I believe it's Butch Witkowski. Yeah, Butch Witkowski will be Monday. And we're going to have a good week next week, everyone. Let me just confirm next week. Hold on. Where's Corns, the booking guy? Lawrence. Oh, let's see here. Where's Corns here? Where's our schedule for next week? Yeah, Butch Witkowski. And then Tuesday night, Emily and John Goodwin from Galaxy Press talk some space stuff. And then Kathleen Martin. It's the anniversary of Betty and Barney Hill's abduction. We'll talk to her on Wednesday. Dr. Michael Masters talking about UFOs on Thursday. And then Friday, our Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. Another solid week next week put together by Corrence, the booking guy. And remember, if you have any requests for us to have guests on the show, email Corey at bookings@spacedoutradio.com. Bookings@spacedoutradio.com. I'm going to say goodnight to you. Thank you to everyone who subscribed this week, everybody who participated in the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Love you all. Have a safe weekend, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and join us on Monday at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern for Spaced Out Radio. We'll talk to you then. Good night. Have a great weekend.